Pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Yeah, welcome into the Tuesday edition of Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody's doing well out there. We got a big show today. Ben McKee from VolQuest.com dropping by at 6:30. We'll talk all things Tennessee Vols with him. John Glennon at 8 o'clock from SI.com with the latest on the Tennessee Titans. Stephen Holder, now of ESPN, at 9 o'clock for all things NFL. And we'll focus in a little bit on the Indianapolis Colts as well coming up at 9 o'clock. As always, taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, good morning. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. Thanks to Michelle for the first game certificate from the White Sox game. That's really cute that you and Ryan by the way, I have been there. I've seen the Tigers actually destroy that team a few times in that stadium, I believe.
Wow.
Back when the Tigers were good. And so apparently Brooklyn Porth and I both get our little first game certificate.
Listen, and me.
Thanks.
I got one, too.
Oh, you got one, too?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
What a trio.
I mean,
what a
that makes
trio that
sense.
is.
Yeah. And also thanks to your grandma for the
Care package.
Yeah, so you got Kit Kats and I got licorice. Yeah. I love black licorice, but we did talk about how black licorice kills people. So is this because your grandma likes me or dislikes me?
She's playing the long game.
Yeah.
No, she likes you, but now that I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, we might need to switch up the candy a little bit, Joe. We need to get some other options in there for you.
Just
moderation.
you'll
be all right.
Yeah, moderation. Just don't eat the whole. I mean, I could eat the whole package, but I've learned. So thanks to your grandma.
Michelle, how are you? What's going on?
Guys, doing great this morning. I was so excited to give Joe that first game certificate because when we made it at the stadium, I lost it. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I don't know why.
So,
it's pretty fun.
I mean, yeah, it's a little printed out certificate. What is this, like some station there where you go?
Yep.
And yeah.
So I got mine, and then Ryan and I were walking away, and we were like, wait a minute. And he went back.
Must do.
He went back and said that his name was Joe Rexrode. So like, can you spell your name for me? And he was like, Joe. And I was like crying, snorting, laughing in the corner. I couldn't stand near it. I thought it was so funny.
Hey, shout out to Ryan for spelling Joe Rexrode correctly.
Good job, Ryan.
True. I was actually nervous for a second. And then if I interjected and was like, actually, that's not how you spell your name, the guy would have been like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That would have
Wait
been
a
pretty
minute.
awesome.
So yeah, doing great this morning, guys.
Good stuff. Speaking of Joe Rexrode, a lot of Joe Rexrode discussion here on the program today. We will have some tickets to give away, a pair of tickets to the FedEx St. Jude Classic in Memphis coming up on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th. The winner of these tickets will be required coming up later in the 7 o'clock hour to give us your best Joe Rexrode impersonation. So you can take that any way you want to take it. You could try to match his voice. You can try to match him yelling at Jared. Any way you want to take it, yelling about the, the Boston Celtics of the 80s, the Bulls of the 90s, whatever you want to take it. We'll have that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Your best Joe Rexrode impersonation. The winner will receive a pair of tickets to the FedEx St. Jude Classic in Memphis coming up on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th as well.
I hate listening to my own voice, so maybe I shouldn't judge. Because if someone is actually good and sounds like me, then I may dislike that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll let you guys judge.
Well, I certainly want your input, but yeah, maybe we'll judge. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, it sounds like a bleep show, but we'll see.
Well, it'll be awesome. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, we are looking forward to that. So the pads come on yesterday for the Titans at training camp, and Traylon Burks, another good day at training camp yesterday for the Titans. Now, offensively overall, It did not go the way that Ryan Tannehill wanted to. He said it, quote, wasn't clean enough for the offense yesterday. So there's that part of it as well with the defense having a good day. Roger McCreary, apparently all over the field yesterday. TD said he had 5 pass breakups out there yesterday. So a pretty good day for McCreary out there on the field yesterday. But yet another day, Joe, where Treylon Burks is stealing the show. He had 2 touchdowns in the team period. And this has now been a week straight of training camp where Treylon Burks has been pretty darn good the whole time. So I ask you, what does that mean? With Treylon Burks playing this well and looking this good so far in training camp on a consistent basis, what do you read into that this far, a week into camp?
Well, I don't want to overreact to it, but it's best case scenario at this point for sure. So you watch him, and it's hard to not think that he's going to do some good things for the Titans this year. It's still there's still a difference, obviously, on Sundays and game planning and a different opponent and all that stuff. You get familiar with the same DBs you're going against and maybe some of the same looks. But look, the guy's he's bigger and faster than most people. So, and he's catching everything. His hands look great. It's one of those things. It's like we didn't even get to the point of asking about his hands in the spring because it never, he wasn't even out there. So he looks, I said this before, I'll say it again. I mean, his feet off the line look quicker to me than I thought. So you don't want to, I'm not ready to say he's wide receiver 1 or anything like that, but I feel like if he keeps this up and he stays out there, he's going to more and more contribute to this offense. And maybe by the end of the year, he is wide receiver 1 or 1A, 1B with Robert Woods.
Well, we've talked about this. I've always been one, probably slower than most, to really put a whole lot of stock into practice and training camp practice especially. But I will say, like, when you do it on a consistent basis over a period of time, I start to pay attention to that. Now, is a week into camp enough time? Not for me yet. Like, I need to see him do this for a little bit longer. But certainly, if you're a Titans fan, like, the fact that we're having this type of discussion about Treylon Burks right now is light years different to the discussion we were having about Treylon Burks heading into camp, and that by itself to me is really good. But it goes back to what we talked about earlier, Joe. Once you get past the is he in shape, is he not in shape, how quickly can he get in shape when camp comes around, there's the fact that he's a pretty darn good player in the SEC. And, we talked about Treylon Burks before the Titans traded A.J. Brown back in the pre-draft process of, yeah, man, if he's there, that's somebody I'd like to see the Titans go get. And then obviously it played out the way that it did. But, this to me, I'm not willing to just say that I'm expecting big things from Treylon Burks quite yet. But if he keeps this up for another couple of weeks in training camp, to me, I'm feeling pretty good about Treylon Burks if I'm a Titans fan.
Yeah. Well, and just think about what it may have been going into camp. I thought, well, Robert Woods, ACL, they're going to be careful. So, maybe he won't, he'll do some stuff. Well, he's doing everything with no brace. And then, of course, you didn't know about Treylon Burks. I thought it might be like Nick Westbrook-Akina and, whoever taking out those reps. And a lot of other guys are getting reps, by the way, like important reps, Cody Hollister and obviously Des Fitzpatrick and all those guys. But, yeah, this is best case scenario. And it's pads just went on, so the thing is, that just makes him look bigger, So.
Well, that's the thing, because like I think there are, at some positions, rookies, you worry about the pads going on of, okay, well, can they handle physicality at the NFL level? I don't really worry about that with Treylon Burks. Like, he's a big guy. We've talked about he's been a big guy all off season. We've talked about that. So like the pads coming on for him, I think probably highlights his skill set more than anything else.
Yeah, no doubt. And people are bouncing off him left and right. Some of that might be called in a real game. He's got to be careful about extending the arms and stuff like that. But sometimes I think it looks like it must be OPI, but it's actually just someone bouncing off him. It's part of, to me, probably the most, I guess, encouraging part of camp that you didn't know. If you could isolate him, but also, again, Woods and Chikakonkwo also, for me, is exceeding kind of what I thought from him. I mean, he is making really good catches in traffic, runs really well. Like Des Fitzpatrick, Racey McMath. I mean, like the pass catching aspect of the team right now is definitely ahead of what I thought it would be, and it's pretty close to like ideal situation right now. But again, right now.
Right, and things are about to continue to ramp up here. The Ravens game is next week, which is hard to believe. The preseason football is already almost here, but we'll find out in those games / practices with Bucks and the Cardinals as well. How do you look against other NFL top competition? So it's going to continue to be a learning process here. But I said this yesterday, Joe, and I think this is probably as big of a deal as anything else. The fact that Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Akina, all these guys that are going to be catching balls from Ryan Tannehill this year, they've been out there every day. Like, that's to me when you start stacking days and days become weeks in training camp where everybody's available, that to me is when you can start to build something with an offense. And so far so good on that front too, with you haven't, knock on wood, had any injury setbacks yet either in camp with the skill positions.
Right. Yeah, and with Woods going back to the spring, I mean, he did more in the spring than I would have guessed. Certainly with Austin Hooper going back to the spring and Chig. I mean, Tannehill has put together some time with these guys, and it looks like it looks like it's paying off. He already has, again, with Westbrook-Akina, I think it's a really good connection. And Burks, I mean, even like just some of the timing routes and stuff, they seem to be totally on the same page, which is a little bit surprising. Like day one of camp.
Yeah.
There was one play I was like, wow, you got to have trust that your receiver's coming back to that spot. He did on good coverage by Farley on that play. So it's been really good. It looks good. I think that just the idea that Tannehill's going to have more people he feels comfortable with, I think that's a pretty safe thing to say right now when you consider how much Julio missed last year, Marcus Johnson missed last year. So injuries haven't happened yet, but just as far as number of guys who he likes, and like Ferkser last year, Ferkser and Tannehill have had a great connection, but then he just wasn't as effective once he hurt himself late in camp. So right now, it looks like he's definitely going to have more people. It's going to be more like 20 than 21 with multiple people he feels good throwing to, as opposed to last year it was basically A.J. Brown, and whoever was out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Chester Rogers, but there was some limitations there.
We're off and running here today on Robby and Rexrode, taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll get to some takeaways for the first day in pads yesterday in Titans training camp as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
They're still in good shape to make the playoffs.
and I-840,
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
there's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 1025 The Game.
And he has added players that do fit.
What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams.
This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have two choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more on car insurance. Save money with pay-per-mile insurance from Allstate. Call a local Allstate agent and get a quote.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
Now's the time to make a message known. All working-class Tennesseans vote no on Amendment 1 this voting season. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Hardworking families deserve to have their needs addressed in today's economy. Visit TennesseeWorkerAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, Trying to find a needle in a haystack? Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
This week's Nashville's best deal is from River Queen Voyages. It's a fun and unique way to cool off in Nashville this summer. Nashville's River Fun Authority gives you the best views of the city with skyline kayaking, river scavenger hunts, and a party pontoon with your own captain. Book your downtown river adventure at riverqueenvoyages.com. And while supplies last, get half off a $50 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
Geico presents Daily Affirmations.
Repeat after me. Our thoughts are like the ocean.
Our thoughts are like the ocean.
Our thoughts create our reality.
Our thoughts create our reality.
We're thinking Geico offers claim service 24/7 with personalised attention from an assigned team.
Geico offers claim service? I wasn't thinking that.
We think it and it becomes our reality.
So, what about washboard abs?
Let's give it a go. Think really hard.
Okay, abs.
Yeah, keep thinking.
To manifest more Geico in your life, go to geico.com.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Ryan throw a pick so far in camp. He looking particularly?
I think he's been pretty decisive, and I think he's been accurate. I think there's some throws today I'm sure he'd like to have back. I mean, that may, hopefully that's just kind of being down in the red zone for the first time. And, it's early, but I obviously think that that's a step in the right direction is how we want to practice.
Last year you threw 5 picks in the first 5 days of practice, no picks so far in any of the team periods. What's the difference?
I don't know. I'm not going to get into last year or anything like that. Just trying to be smart with the ball. Sometimes in practice, you're pushing the limits, right? I mean, that's the point of practice, especially early on in training camp and the spring is you're kind of pushing the limits and seeing where you can put the ball and if you can fit it in there, what catch radius guys have and things like that. But it's a balance. You want to be smart. Today we're down in the red zone, so want to play situational ball there a little bit and be smart with the football, not put the ball in harm's way. But we just know as quarterbacks that it's our job to try to take care of the football and put it in a good spot. So we want to train those good habits as we go.
That was Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill yesterday after Titans practice. Day number 1 in pads for the Titans yesterday. Joe, I think one of my favorite things that has happened so far in training camp is like every time Jared asks Ryan Tannehill a question, he just starts laughing before his response.
I was just going to say,
every time.
Does he laugh every time Jared asks him a question?
It's hilarious.
Would it matter what Jared asks?
I don't know. It hasn't so far.
We need to do an experiment. Have Jared just ask like the most basic, mundane.
He just,
how would you evaluate your day or something like that?
Tannehill starts laughing.
And Tannehill just.
He did. He just, I don't know, man. It's practice.
So, like his obsession with the picks last year in camp, man. I mean that particular question should have been laughed at. But yeah, he laughs every time.
A lot of talk about practice out here.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson would not be a big fan of what's been happening around here.
I tell you, I mean, Tannehill's trending toward maybe the best season of all time. Right? You look at his completion percentage, yards per attempt, no picks, bunch of touchdowns.
If this translates to the regular season, you don't have to worry about Malik Willis being the starter in 2023. I can tell you that.
MVP.
Give Tannehill a new deal.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll probably have to redo his deal. Maybe they might redo his deal by like mid-August if he keeps playing like this. And what else do you need to see? What's more important than this,
Ugh, man.
From the biggest story in camp, Ryan Tannehill.
Amazing stuff out there yesterday. So it was the first day in pads. They did red zone. Tannehill spoke yesterday about the offense and maybe not having the day that they wanted to yesterday. That's the thing about training camp, and I think Vrabel kind of touched on this yesterday too. When your offense has a good day, you look around and you say, what's going on with the defense? And when your defense has a good day, you say, what's wrong with the offense today? Like it's hard for both sides of the ball to win. I guess as a coach, like if you're Vrabel in these situations, what do you want? Like, do you want it to, I don't know if alternate days is the best way to put it, but do you want to see some back and forth in training camp? What are you looking for if you're Vrabel and the coaching staff in days like this?
Well, I feel like a year ago you wanted some wins for the defense. Maybe that's why Tannehill was throwing those picks. I'm just saying. I will, by the way, on that whole thing, I will agree with Jared on one thing. My question last year to him, it was a bad question because it was like, so are you just doing this to which I believed, but still like that. You got to ask an open-ended question. Bad question by me. But the question of are you just trying to let it rip basically, which is I think what he was doing. But still, it was a leading question. Don't ask leading questions. Ask open-ended questions.
There you go.
But I think last year they wanted maybe the defense to have a little success, right? And now this year it's probably it'd be great to see the offense do some good things, but they have been. The receivers have looked good. We've talked about it. So I think you want some back and forth. You can have good, the ideal play is the play I mentioned earlier, Traylon Burks, really good coverage by Farley. It's the one spot you can complete the pass. You throw the pass there, he catches it. Farley's right there. It's not a big play. As a defensive coach, there's always a weakness in your defense. There's always something that can be given up if the offense just takes what you're giving them. So if that's all it is and they don't hit big plays on you, then you feel like as a coach at some point they're going to commit a turnover, you're going to have a sack, you're going to have a penalty, and they're not going to get 6 points on the drive. So not giving up big plays, I think is a big thing there, just thinking about it defensively. But, I think you want some back and forth. And, apparently McCreary.
Yeah.
I've thought he's been pretty good. Apparently he was outstanding yesterday. And it's interesting because Elijah Molden is not out there. So you're seeing with McCreary, he's worked outside, he's worked inside. Now you wonder, because I don't think Caleb Farley right now is doing anything to be jeopardized as far as starting. I mean, it's early, but he looks like a starter to me. But is McCreary possibly pushing Elijah Molden?
Well, it's interesting, and I remember when they picked him in the second round, I was like, really? You went corner in the second round? You just took a corner last year in the first round. We said basically the same thing about Petit Frere with Raiden as well. So you took a corner last year in the first round and the right tackle in the second round last year, and your second, third round picks this year were a corner and then a right tackle. Interesting. See how that works out. But the one question mark we've had about this defense heading into the year, at least as far as the starters are concerned, was Caleb Farley in that spot. Well, it's early, but if he's Caleb Farley that he's been so far in camp and he's reliable, and McCreary comes in and can give you some important minutes too, well, all of a sudden you look at this defense in Fulton, McCreary, Farley, Molden, you're feeling pretty good about your cornerback group, and then you're looking around the rest of the starters and wondering, okay, well, where's the weak spot of this defense? Again, very early, don't overreact, but that's best case scenario for this Titans defense if it plays out that way.
Yeah, and Buster Skrine retiring isn't ideal, but if those four young guys are healthy and playing well, then you're fine, and maybe you're really good. And we'll see. I'm very interested to see Caleb Farley and McCreary against different receivers, in those practices and things like that. We'll see how much work they get in the preseason games. But
not just the receivers. Like when you're playing against Brady in practice, I put some stock into that. Because he's gonna. I mean, he's seen everything that you could possibly see, and he's gonna try to pick you apart. And how do you handle that if you're Caleb Farley? If you're Roger McCreary? I mean, that's going to be a pretty big test in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, great. I mean, it's great work. It's great work. And, look, Kyler Murray, one of the stories of the offseason, but hey, the guy can look.
You imagine how much film he'll have studied by then? My God.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but maybe he didn't even study film last year. Whatever he did, he carved them up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to get two good QBs to see because the preseason games. Probably aren't going to see much of anything. You're not going to play. Who knows? I don't know. They need to just get rid of them altogether. Just do like rotating practices with all the teams. You
remember how excited we were for preseason football last year because we didn't have it in 2020?
Yeah,
that went away quick.
And it was just like, oh yeah, here it is.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but those practices, the fact that they got two this year against two, really, one really great quarterback, and then a really good one. Should be good work. But, that corner group is it's promising. Now, we'll see with Molden, though. What's up with Molden. It's been a pretty healthy camp so far, but you don't want to lose him for significant time. And I've thought that Molden was one of those kind of underrated players who could take a big jump this year. But you got to be healthy. Got to be available.
Liam on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, losing AJ still stings, but is it possible the receiving group this year will actually be better even without him? We're going to get that question a lot, Joe Rexrode. What do you think?
Well, it goes back to the thing with AJ, which is I still would ask, does anyone in this receiving core have like a San Francisco game in them, a game at Indy in them? He's in other moments where he really has taken over games. That's my question. I like Robert Woods a lot, but there's still a difference. Nick Westbrook-Akina, no. He's a good player. Traylon Burks, at some point, but this year, I don't know. I mean, that might be asking too much. Again, it's like I think that the variety of weapons definitely is trending toward being better, just because you have to consider the tight ends, and that is better.
There's no question.
Like the tight end situation last year was bad. They didn't address it enough, and they paid for it. And they've addressed it now. And so the variety of pass catchers, I think. And by the way, Dontrell Hilliard, again, I'll say, I think coming with a full offseason, knowing he's a third down back, that's his job. He looks good out there. I think he's gonna give this team the best third down back. No, all due respect to McWeapon, because Jeremy Nichols did a really nice job. But I think Hilliard will be the most effective third down back here than there's been in a while. I mean, I guess like at some point Deion Lewis kind of became that, but he was also like the main back for a lot of that year. I mean, so there's the overall group, I think, better, Liam, but would you trade more variety for having the one star who not only can take over a game, but also can manipulate a defense? Does anybody on this team scare a defense into doing different things? Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think it's probably not at first. We'll see if Traylon Burks grows into that.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy who ultimately would be that guy.
We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Ben McKee from VolQuest.com. We'll get his thoughts on day number 1 of fall camp for Josh Heupel and company yesterday up in Knoxville. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
It's training time for the Two-Tone Blue, and we have you covered. Talking Titans? Join us live from training camp for interviews and reports, giving you the latest on the Titans.
There's a lot of guys that are making an impact on me, both good and bad.
I like some of the depth. I think that's the key right now.
Training camp coverage is fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Get a king bed for a queen price at Mattress Firm and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
Is your mattress keeping you up all night, tossing and turning, needing a new mattress but don't know where to go? Well, shop at Social Furniture today, where they sell comfort. They have all of the top brands like Sealy, Stearns & Foster's, Simmons, Serta, and Purple Mattress. Social Furniture offers sofa beds, loft beds, twin beds, queen beds, king beds, kids beds, and beds for your whole family. There's no waiting, and they have same-day delivery. Visit Social Furniture in West Nashville at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. Forget the big box store. Shop local. Shop social.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, ovals, pear shapes.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 1025 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
At Wrangler, we know that life is all about taking the reins. No matter what's in front of you or which way the road turns. Sometimes the ride is smooth, sometimes it's rough. Sometimes you nail it, sometimes you fall. And when you do, you say to yourself, I got this. Because life is one big glorious ride, and Wrangler jeans are made to handle every step of it. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
New message.
Hey, man, it's Devin. You know, from that time you accidentally emailed me because you thought I was a different Devin. Oh, and your email signature said confidential. If you receive this in error, please delete. That's so you. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat. When are we setting sail, Captain?
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Oh, and no, you did not receive this message in error.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willie, and D-Mates.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in Ben McKee from VolQuest.com. Ben, what's going on? How we doing?
Robby, Joe, how are y'all? I'm doing well.
We're great, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. So day number 1 of fall camp yesterday for Josh Heupel and company. What were some things that stood out to you yesterday, Ben, as the Vols get things rolling here this fall?
Yeah, there were a couple of different things that stood out to me. Obviously, you have to take things with a grain of salt because it is practice number 1 of fall camp, but I think the obvious takeaway, and this is obvious because Josh Heupel going from year 1 to year 2, and that's the overall size and speed and strength of the team. You can tell that they are very comfortable with Josh Heupel and his coaching staff, the returning players, the newcomers who are here in the spring, and those that went through spring practice. They understand what to do and just how practice works simply. And I know that seems so simplistic, but that's something that they were trying to get used to this time last year. And I thought you could tell a night and day difference. It looks like a coaching staff that has been here and is not getting their feet wet. So that was obvious. And there were other things across, positions on both sides of the ball. For me personally, I took a take, or I was surprised by the defensive backs, and mostly because I didn't have great expectations for them. They were very minimal. Not much of an expectation for the defensive backs, especially how they performed last year. But they have a couple of guys that I'm very intrigued by. Georgia Tech transfer Wesley Walker, Ohio State transfer Andre Turrentine. Those two guys looked real good on day one, and I think that they are going to play a lot of snaps for Tennessee. You've got the veteran safeties coming back. Trayvon Flowers, I think he could be this year's Theo Jackson in terms of a guy who hasn't really produced a ton over the course of his career, and then finally it all clicks and comes together as a senior. I thought he looked good yesterday. Jalen McCullough has slimmed down. We'll see if that can lead to him being more efficient in space. And then I thought Kamal Haddon and Warren Burrell, the two that I think are going to be the starting corners for the opener, I thought they were bouncing around and looking pretty good. And they have some intriguing freshmen. Christian Harrison, the son of Rodney Harrison, I thought he looked real good on day one. So that was my biggest takeaway from a position standpoint, is that the defensive backs are maybe further along than I anticipated. But that's also because my expectations for them were so low. I don't think that they're going to go out there and be a secondary that we're used to seeing with Alabama or LSU. But I do think they're going to be very formidable.
Yeah, I thought Ben Turrentine in particular, I liked some stuff he did. I wondered, do you feel like a Turrentine, a Walker could even challenge in the next month to get into that starting lineup?
Yes, I certainly think so. And I think it'll be at that nickel position, especially Wesley Walker. He has experience, having played 3 seasons at Georgia Tech, so I think that is going to be very valuable for him. And then Andre Turrentine, he's just too talented to keep off the field. And he transferred. Yes, he is a Tennessee native, but he transferred just because of the logjam of talent at Ohio State. It wasn't necessarily him doing anything wrong at Ohio State. It's just Ohio State is one of those 3-4 schools right now that is they don't recruit, they draft. And Andre Turrentine, a very talented player that suffered from that. So in hopes of finding more playing time, he decided to leave. And from my understanding, the Ohio State coaching staff wasn't too thrilled about him leaving, just because they do think that he is very talented, and they thought that they were losing a really good football player. So I think his talent is going to be near impossible to keep him off the field. Still a little young, doesn't have a ton of game experience, so he'll probably have to go through some things and learn along the way, but he's just far too talented to keep off the field. So I expect both of those guys to really factor in at the nickel position to start right away.
Ben McKee from VolQuest.com on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Ben, we've talked a lot, obviously, about Hendon Hooker this offseason, and his stats last year were just ridiculous. I mean, the guy threw 3 picks the whole year last year. So it's year 2 in this offense. He's the unquestioned starter heading into this season. How does he have a better year? What does a better year for Hendon Hooker look like in your mind, given the fact that his stats were so ridiculous last year?
Right. I think that there's just going to be a natural progression for the simple fact that he is the starter going into game 1. And I think his stats would have looked even better last year had he been the starter coming out of fall camp and been the starter for that season opener last year and for the Pittsburgh game week 2, rather than having to come in for an injured Joe Milton and then kind of taking the job and running with it from there. So I do think there's just going to be a natural bump in statistics if you're simply looking at it from that standpoint, just because he's going to get more playing time. He is the guy until he gets hurt, essentially, because I would be stunned if poor performance led to a different quarterback from Hendon. But in terms of just actual football and where he can improve there, I think maybe being more aggressive at times. Not that he isn't aggressive, but I do think you'll see him be more aggressive because he is so comfortable in this offense. He knows what he is doing. He knows he's the starting quarterback. He's not necessarily looking over his shoulder for Joe Milton. Joe and Hendon both understand that Hendon is the guy. So I think with that comfort level of knowing that he is the starting quarterback, I think he's going to be willing to take on more risk in a football game. And it's not going to be outrageous risk. It's not going to be a danger zone with Hendon. But I think as a result of him being more comfortable and that leading to him taking more risks, I think you'll see more splash plays. I know we saw plenty of splash plays last season, so not sure how you even double up on that. But I kind of think that that's where his progression will come from as a passer, and just being able to take more risks and being more aggressive, pushing the ball down the field. I think that's where you'll see him take that next step this season.
So a couple guys yesterday, Ben, and you know, I don't want to overreact, especially with freshmen, but Squirrel White, I mean, it's pretty obvious his speed. And, of course, there's been a lot of talk about him. Alex Golish talking about his maturity the other day, and there's a lot of buzz around him. So I wonder how much you think is realistic for him to factor in this year. But then also Dylan Sampson, and obviously knowing that there's a running back opening, that they could use some more help. Their depth is a little bit uncertain right now because of injuries. What do you think about those two freshmen?
I'm very high on both of them, and I do think that both will play as true freshmen in this offense this season. I do think that both will have good careers at Tennessee. I would be very surprised if they didn't. Squirrel White is just too good of a football player and has too good of a skill set not to have a productive college career. And then Dylan Sampson, I'm very high on him and his future, because I think his skill set fits perfectly within this offense. I think it's exactly what Josh Heupel is looking for. He kind of reminds me of Jalen Wright, just a year behind. And I expect him to factor into that running back rotation. But I think the depth is a little less certain at receiver at the moment. I know running back is kind of the talking point, but I think Jabari Small is a very solid starting running back in the SEC. I think Jalen Wright is going to take a big step forward. And then I think those two freshmen are going to factor in as well, Dylan Sampson and then the other freshman running back, Justin Williams-Thomas. I think those two guys will battle it out for, I guess, the fourth running back carries, because it does seem like Tennessee is on the verge of adding Lynn J. Dixon, the former Clemson running back who transferred to West Virginia. It does seem like he's going to be a Vol by the end of the week. So the path to playing time won't be as clear for Dylan Sampson as it is for Squirrel White, because right now in the receiver room, all you can trust is Cedric Tillman. Now, I think Jalen Hyatt is going to have an absolutely tremendous season. I think he's really going to have a breakout season and put all of his tools in his toolbox to use for the first time in his career. He's always had the ability to be one of the SEC's best playmakers with the ball in his hands, and I think you're going to see that this season. He's had a great off season. He's changed his outlook mentally and really gotten to a good point of understanding what he needs to do Monday through Friday to have an impact on Saturday. And that shift started midway through last season and has really carried over into the summer. He caught more footballs on the jug machine than any receiver in that room, and it was day one, but I thought you could tell that Jalen Hyatt was a different Jalen Hyatt yesterday, and I think he's going to have a breakout year. So Jalen will be in front of Squirrel White, so that maybe will limit some of Squirrel's snaps in the slot as well. But there's only one guy that you can definitively trust right now, and that's Cedric Tillman. I do think Jalen Hyatt, Brew McCoy will have impacts, but I think the depth at receiver is a little less certain than at running back. So I think there's a better chance of Squirrel White having an impact than Dylan Sampson.
Ben McKee from VolQuest.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Ben, great stuff, man. Really appreciate you making time to join us this morning.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Absolutely. You as well. Ben McKee, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Check out his work at VolQuest.com. We'll continue the conversation on the Vols, including a Twitter battle that Michelle Knezovic will have great interest in coming up next as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobe. It's hot, humid, and stormy for today. High temperatures in the middle 90s. Factoring in the humidity, we'll feel close to 100 in the middle of the afternoon. Scattered showers and storms throughout the day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the beach is just the beginning. Because here, there's so much more to explore. So let's paddle, and maybe even parasail. Let's hit the trails, the coffee shops, the quaint boutiques, and craft breweries. And then let's indulge in some fresh seafood with a sea view. From the Gulf Coast to the Bay, there's something for every taste and every interest. So let's make the most of every sun-drenched minute, and let's shine. Start planning your next escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
This September, the Chainsmokers hit Music City at the Blended Wine and Music Festival. 24 bands, 2 stages, 1 weekend, all under the Nashville skyline. Performances by the Chainsmokers, Loud Luxury, Sick Kick, Fetty Wap, Breland, and more. September 10th and 11th, the ultimate social experience drops in Music City. Enjoy a massive 100-foot wine tent, culinary village, and wellness lounge. Get tickets now at blendedfestival.com.
Oh, are you seeing these readings? This is incredible.
Short-staffed, Marco's Climate Research Facility is in the eye of the storm. The atmospheric pressure to find more weather specialists is mounting.
Man, this is going to be a big job. We're going to need a bigger team.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you get the Clement Horizon clean last night? I don't want another barnacle incident. Where's Ivan?
Kiki's head of docking operations just jumped ship.
What do you mean he's sailing around the world?
She needs a new marina manager to help keep her head above water.
Yeah, the tide's perfect, but we are slammed.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just 3 guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Well, I don't really know what to say coming back to break with this. What is this crap?
My old Kentucky home. My old Kentucky home.
Oh my
It's our
gosh!
it's our song.
Well, you know what? That makes some sense.
That sounds like some kind
I feel like I'm at a funeral.
Yeah, some kind of boys choir. That's my old Kentucky home.
Yes, and I did the sped up version, so it wouldn't be.
That's
too
the
bad.
sped up version.
That's the high energy version.
Listen, not everybody can be graced with Rocky Top, even though we all know I'm not a Vols fan.
Good
I do love me
gracious.
some Rocky Top.
Yes, you're kind of a Vols fan.
Kind of.
Do they play
was
that
weird.
when they score a touchdown?
No, it's like after the game, everybody just kind of like you go from side to side. and
Oh,
it's
there's
my
it's like alma
old
mater
Kentucky.
swaying
Yeah,
back and forth.
That's what it
Okay.
is. Yeah, that's what it is.
All right. Well, God bless Kentucky, I guess. Good gracious.
They played that at like a White Sox game. It'd be like the best sports atmosphere ever.
I think Tigers could have a beat.
Yeah. Wow. It's interesting stuff. So, to that
Where
point.
do you go from there?
Well, I'm going to go here with it. So, there's been this Twitter battle that I saw.
It's been intense.
It's been intense. And the first place I saw this came from Brandon Walker, not of the Nashville Predators, but of Barstool Sports, that put this out there the other day. And the tweet, and I think I saw him and Chad Withrow go back and forth with each other on it, but Brandon Walker's original tweet was, quote, "The other day I opined that Kentucky football currently is a better program than Tennessee football. In the days since, Tennessee fans have not handled it well. The last 5 years, Kentucky is 40-23. Tennessee is 27-33. I want to apologize to UT fans. Kentucky has a much better program." This is coming from Brandon Walker on Twitter. So obviously that has led to a lot of discussion and a lot of debate about the state of the Kentucky football program and the state of the Tennessee football program as well. What do you make of all this, Rexrode? Does the University of Kentucky currently have a better football program than Tennessee?
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, it does.
This is such a ridiculous statement.
No. Okay, so I think that there's two ways to look at it. But right now, all the years Stoops has put in, what they've done consistently over time, you got a guy who a year ago the Vols freaking fired Jeremy Pruitt for cause, like in a complete disaster. I mean, it's 1 year into Heupel. Yes, right now, who has a better program? It's not even like it's not debatable. Now, who has a higher ceiling program? Who has more all-time better? I mean, all-time better program. Also, it's not debatable, right? But to me, when you say who has a better program, that means who, like the coach. That means the coach currently, right? That's what it means to me. It means
the whole program. But yeah, it's not just the coach.
No, but I mean, but it's the coach in charge. What has been done? Where are they? And it's compared to the other coach. That's to me when you say who has a better program. That's what it means to me. So yes, I think absolutely Kentucky has a better program. Now, they'll never. I don't know. I'll say never, but yeah,
Never say never.
Yeah, I mean they're never going to have the same ceiling that Tennessee does. They don't have the same. And that goes back to tradition and decades and resources and all it. Look, they care more about basketball there. I mean, they just do, and I don't think that'll ever change, right?
Probably not.
So long term, but like the idea, like the fact that Tennessee's 3-2 or whatever in the last 5 against Tennessee. Okay, great. So you're taking dubs on Jeremy Pruitt's rando, like lucking into victories. I mean, he's gone.
I mean, did they win or not?
Well, yeah, they won. But it's Jeremy Pruitt. He's gone. I mean, that was, that doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, that's great, but you're talking about Kentucky being a better football program, and they can't beat Tennessee. So what does that mean?
Well, they've lost 3 of 5.
Yeah,
which is actually for them. That's actually pretty.
So
good.
What does that tell you?
Well, but the record does tell me more. The record absolutely tells me more. The Tennessee.
This is such a ridiculous statement. It's
no,
ridiculous.
It's not.
It is so ridiculous.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm sorry. Like the head-to-head, of course, matters, and it's incredible how Kentucky can never beat Tennessee. But you can't tell me that over the last few years that Tennessee's been a better football program than Kentucky.
Over the last few years? I mean, what are we talking about here? Like the last 3-4 years?
Well, we're talking about, again, Stoops has brought Kentucky to a place I never would have guessed Kentucky would get to at all. I mean, you're talking about a team that has actually competed. I mean, they played in like a championship game against Georgia, the next to last game of the year or whatever.
And what happened the week after that?
Oh, I know. It's amazing. But does that make that Jeremy Pruitt bleep show a better program? No. I mean, it's crazy they beat them. But, no, Stoops has brought Kentucky to a level of stability that I don't think there's any – it's
he's certainly
year one for Heupel.
He's done a great job. Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And he has taken Kentucky football to a place where, number one, I didn't think they could get to, and number two, I think they got some staying power in terms of where they are. Like, I don't think they're ever going to be competing for the SEC East or anything like that. But I think they've got some staying power. As long as he's there, they can be a good solid team. And look, who knows with Levis, if you find a quarterback, then maybe you can have those years where you can make a jump, and maybe this year is that year where they can challenge. I don't know. But how can you be a better football program when your ceiling is what, 8 wins, 9 wins?
So
like, what is that?
Yeah, well, but again, but like, so it's two things. So the current, to me, who's the better program right now? Who's the coach here? Who's the coach here? What have they done? What's the last few years look like? That's the ranking the top 20 football programs of all time, whatever. Tennessee's easily in there. Kentucky's not even close to in there. So it's two different things. But the current program, I mean, absolutely. To me, Kentucky's better than Tennessee. I'm sorry.
This is a level of stupidity that I just can't get.
Wait,
this is so dumb.
But you can't listen.
But you can't. So you're saying you can't separate those two things?
No.
Yeah. See, I disagree. I mean, you're talking historically. Historically.
That is what a football program is. The question is not who is the better team right now.
No, it's not.
It's a football program.
A program like Jeremy Pruitt's program happened. Butch Jones's program happened. Right now we're in the early stages of Josh Heupel's program, and they are different. Yes, they are all in the same place with some of, you have the same fan base, resources, opportunity, but that's still the program. The coach determines the program. The coaching staff dictates what a program is. And again, Stoops has taken a program that's like historically not even close to Tennessee, and he's actually brought them to a higher level of achievement. So that's to me, I define a program by who's in charge and what have they done.
I can't even do this.
I think you need to get on the Vol Twitter, get with Vol Twitter, and start firing off. Go get Matt Jones. Go get Rex Chapman.
We'll get all those.
No, but listen, I will say at SEC Media Day, like, a lot of people were high on them. I'm not saying on program or anything, and I know everybody knows me as the Kentucky fan, but Tennessee obviously has, the pedigree. But if you're looking at it right now, you can say the head-to-heads, like Tennessee beats Kentucky. But
that's pretty important.
Throw Florida in there. Throw Florida in there.
But they're crappy and they fire their coach.
Florida's a better program than Tennessee is right now. I mean, look at the last 20 years. Who's a better program?
Yeah, Florida has been for sure. But again, I'm when you ask that question, I'm like, well, let's see. Billy Napier, brand new. I mean, that's how I look at it. There's historically, and we would all agree, Tennessee should be better. Tennessee has more opportunity to be better. It has been a long time since Tennessee's. I mean, when's the last time Tennessee exceeded 9 wins?
Exceeded 9 wins? Oh, you're going back to early 2000s.
Yeah, So it just I look at program as coach.
So NIL, investment in program, boosters, none of that has anything to do with the program.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't. I mean, I think.
Well, then how is this conversation even close?
Because we're talking about achievement, man. It's
gracious.
Stability, and it's achievement, and Kentucky's been here, steady, better than I ever would have thought. Tennessee's like, and then they could go up here. Maybe they will soon, but they aren't right now.
Comment: Tennessee basketball program has been better in the last 3 years, but Kentucky basketball season's ceiling is higher.
Well,
fair.
Well, has Tennessee been all the way better? Always better in the last 3 years? I don't know. I mean, they were better this year.
They were better this year, but yeah, I mean, ceiling. There's a difference. There's a difference in those programs.
Is there?
Well,
by your logic,
yeah.
the balls, baby, come on.
BBN Joe.
A couple games. I mean,
BBN Joe.
Let's quickly go to Adam in Portland on our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Adam, what's up?
So what you're saying is Tennessee clearly has a better basketball program than Kentucky. Is that what you're saying, Joe?
We already went there.
Look, all right, check it out, man. So tell me the name of the Wildcats football stadium. You'll probably know it because you're a sports guy, but most people won't.
Isn't it like Kroger or something or other?
Who knows, man?
Heck yeah, it is.
I don't even know that a lot of people in Kentucky probably don't even know it. And that's what I'm saying. Like Neyland Stadium, the Vol atmosphere, the Power T, that's going to be relevant, man. I understand what you're saying. I think you're a smart guy. I think you're dead wrong on this.
I'm glad you think he's smart. I do too, except for this segment.
There's a lot.
I shouldn't have let Adam on. I thought he was going to be on my side.
There's a lot of text line reaction to this. I guess it really, like, you have to define it how you define program, and it's so like the basketball thing. The Vols have beaten Kentucky. Rick Barnes has beaten Kentucky, but over the last few years, has he had a better record? I mean, he hasn't gotten to, he's done anything in the tournament. That's the problem. Right. And Calipari's had some famous flameouts in St. Peter's just got him, but I'd still say he's probably, like, he's gotten to the Elite Eight a few I mean, look, I think that Josh Heupel can reestablish this as Tennessee is definitely the better program, but he just hasn't yet done it.
We'll continue this discussion coming up next. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here. And I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Celebrate back to school season with Hiller. This month only, get free backyard upgrades when you replace essential home systems like a free Traeger grill with a new whole home generator or a free Yeti cooler with a new tankless water heater. And Hiller's keeping you cool for back to school with zero interest financing for up to 12 months on select new HVAC systems. Visit happyhiller.com. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Are you sick and tired of constant pain in your knees, hips, or back? Especially this time of the year. You need to be moving pain-free, right? Hey, Willie Donick here for the team at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is helping people every day, giving them lasting pain relief using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. The science is simple. They concentrate your own body's healing agents and apply them to your aching joints, restoring and repairing the damaged tissue. No drugs, no steroids, no surgery. The old remedies for pain are not the only remedies. You need to learn more about how regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can change your life. Make this the last summer you suffer from chronic pain. They've got clinics here and all over America. This is the exciting new, natural way to deal with joint pain. No side effects, no downtime. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Snowy and Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. By the way, coming up in just a few minutes at 7:15, we'll have some tickets to give away to the FedEx St. Jude Classic coming up in Memphis on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th as well. The winner will be required to give us your best Joe Rexrode impersonation. So up in the next segment, starting at 7:15, we will open the phone lines for your best Joe Rexrode impersonation. The winner will receive a pair of tickets to the FedEx St. Jude Classic coming up in Memphis on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th as well. I'm looking forward to this.
I feel like a lot of Tennessee fans might just go, duh. That would be your impersonation. And, hey, that might win. You never know.
Well, we got a lot of texts to get to on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, which this conversation, I don't know how we got here, but we did. Which football program is better, the University of Kentucky or the University of Tennessee at the moment? Now, basically, every other text is either somebody calling me stupid or somebody calling you stupid.
Yeah.
So I guess that's how you know it's a good conversation. We'll start with Andrew from Dover on the text line. Says, as an Alabama fan, I'd be more worried about playing Kentucky than I would be Tennessee in football right now.
Okay. I mean, again, that's so now you're just talking about this year's team, right? Like this year's team, they're going to play in Knoxville. I think it should be a really good game. Actually, it should be. It's an underrated game on Tennessee's schedule, but Kentucky might be better this year. I don't know. Tennessee might beat them.
Kentucky was picked to finish second in the SEC East.
That's true.
Tennessee was third.
So one result. So like you mentioned, head to head. So what speaks more to two programs over time? Their records or their head to head?
Well, I mean, I think it's a combination of the two, but I guess my question would be, like, what does it tell you that in apparently this golden era of Kentucky football, they still can't beat Tennessee? Like, does that not factor in?
Well, they beat them twice, but they beat them twice on
That's
5.
great. Okay, but they still have a losing record against Tennessee in this period of time we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think the Pruitt win, which is probably like his greatest win of all time in his wonderful program.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the week after. I don't want to make excuses for Kentucky, but they.
Yes, you do.
I was there that day, and they did not look like a good football team. They looked like a dead football team that had just lost to Georgia in the game of their lives, and whatever. Tennessee beat them. They kicked their butt. So, I mean, it's a fair thing to bring up, but it's like in a given season, like Ohio State gets smoked at Iowa, right? And then they go 11-1 and go to the playoff. Like, who's better? I mean, Iowa beat them, but Ohio State, you can get someone on a given day.
I think it's a little bit different, but yes.
Well, but it is different, but it still relates to, like, over time, Kentucky has been a lot more consistent, has won a lot more than Tennessee in the last few years. And Stoops has been the coach during that time, and he's established something that, to me, makes them a better program currently.
Now, Tennessee also has to play Alabama every year.
That is true.
There is that.
But if you can't separate this from history, which I do, I separate this and say a program is what it is right now. If everything has to be tied together, like history, resources, everything, then that's fine. I mean, Tennessee will always be the better program, but I just don't look at it that way. When people ask that question, I think of who's in charge, what have they done. Josh Heupel, good start. We'll see if he can keep it going.
LD from McMinnville says, a coach defines the teams he coaches. The program is Tennessee football as a whole. That's from LD.
Yeah, so if you look at it that way, then you disagree with me. But I disagree with how you look at it.
Max in Kentucky says, whatever happened to you are what your record says you are, and also recency bias. I don't know what the recency bias is referring to. Is that me for Tennessee beating Kentucky?
I don't know. Because it's Max in Kentucky, I'm expecting him to be arguing for Kentucky. But is that arguing for Kentucky?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes, Tennessee football program has more resources. Kentucky has outperformed their recent history is proof that the Kentucky program is currently better. That's how I look at it. I mean, Glenn from Greenbrier says, talking about Army here.
Yeah.
But says Robby, by your logic, Army's a better program than most of the SEC. Now you're
done
going way
a little bit more winning than Army's done since 1920.
Yeah, we're not talking Glenn Davis and Doc Blanchard. I mean, 100 years ago.
Shout out to Army, though.
There was no doubt. Army was right there with Notre Dame, and Fordham had a hell of a program too, by the way. The Ivy League was all powerful.
Look, if you want to go back that far, back in the day, General Nealon was brought in to beat Vanderbilt.
Exactly.
So,
Vanderbilt was outstanding. McGugan, so that can change. There's a good example of how programs can change. Maybe Stoops can get Kentucky to the point where football is as big there and as profitable and all that stuff as some of the top programs, but that's still such a huge job. That place is a basketball place. Michelle, you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, but I will say, as far as our stadium obviously isn't as big as Neyland by any means, but people fill it even when they suck. So I will give them that. There is a fan base, but the fan base has always looked at it, or at least the way I've looked at it is, it's SEC Saturday, it's game day. Nobody ever expects them to be good, but then obviously in the last couple of years, 10-win seasons, things like that, people have gotten high on them, but it's never been the expectation. You never expect to beat teams like Georgia or Tennessee, things like that. Even Florida for a very long time.
Long time. Yeah, Kentucky was that's the thing, like historically, if you're going to go
historically, it's not close.
No, right, exactly. Historically, Kentucky is right there at the bottom of the league, but that speaks well of what Mark Stoops has done.
No question.
I'm just saying, like right now, they're a better program. That's just how I define it. If you define it differently, then we're never going to agree.
Bo in Murfreesboro on the text line says, whatever you do, please don't look at Kentucky's schedule the last 4 years. It consistently grades as the worst in the conference. I don't know if that's true or not.
SEC schedule, or he's talking non-league scheduling?
I'm guessing SEC schedule, but I don't know. I guess I'd have trouble believing for 4 consecutive years it's near the bottom of the conference. You've got Vanderbilt on it every year. So
yeah, you get the
that helps your schedule,
the East
but
teams.
all the East teams have that.
And then
I don't know.
They don't have anything protected on the other side, right? So they just bounce
Kentucky?
around.
They play. They got to have one crossover, don't they?
I guess everybody has a crossover.
Is it Mississippi State?
Yes, I think yes.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good, sweet deal. Yeah. Well, and their non-league scheduling historically has been it's like Vanderbilt.
Right, but they've got Louisville every year. Louisville's a decent program.
Yeah, that's true. You got the locked in, which has been very good at times, not as much lately. Look, I define it by coach. So if you don't do that, to me it's hard to if you're always going to go by history. Then that's where.
But it's not just history.
It
is investment
it's what
level.
You have.
It is boosters. It's facilities. It's all of it. To me, it's not close.
Well, all of it, all of those things, all those extra things that are always in place for Tennessee. Again, then if you're ranking like program potential, then no doubt you're ranking history. You're ranking program potential. It's not close. Who has the better program? To me, I hear who is performing right now. Not just this team, but whoever. You have a coach who's been there 10 years, coach who's been there 3 years, coach who's been there 1 year. What are they doing?
We'll have to pick this conversation back up at some point because there's a lot of reaction on the text line, and I want to throw this pen at you right now. So we'll pick this conversation back up at some point. But coming up next, perhaps Joe Rexrode has never looked forward to anything more than what we're about to do on the other side. We've got some tickets that we've got to give away to the FedEx St. Jude Classic coming up in Memphis on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th as well. And the way we're going to do it is the winner has to give us their best Joe Rexrode impersonation. So with that in mind, hit up our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Your best Joe Rexrode impersonation. We'll get to those coming up next.
Better sound like a genius.
This is Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
1025 and 1063 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Great news, hockey players. Barani's Hockey World's annual summer clearance sale is back. Swing by one of their 3 Nashville locations for big savings on your favorite brands. August 4th through 14th at your local Barani's Hockey World.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Invite you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel. You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 1025 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
This should be 8 by 7.
When it comes to closets, Janina's home organization business runs tip-top tidy.
Is this schedule right? I'm gonna need help.
But she needs to reorganize and find a new assistant.
I know, it's your last week, but can you make sure the Hansen pantry's wrapped?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After redshirting his first year at Ohio State, Joe Burrow spent the next 2 years as J.T. Barrett's backup. With Dwayne Haskins on the roster, Burrow didn't see much playing time and decided to transfer. LSU head coach Ed Orgeron zeroed in on Burrow and landed him. In his second season at LSU, Burrow led the Tigers to a 15-0 record, a national championship, and arguably the best season ever by a college quarterback.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When your college football team talks to the right recruits, anything is possible. And the same is true for your business, because when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 810 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 1025 and 1063 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 1025, 1063 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. All right, folks. It's a call to action here. We need your participation. We've got some tickets to give away, a pair of tickets to the FedEx St. Jude Classic in Memphis coming up on Saturday, August 13th. And Sunday, August 14th, and we are giving these tickets away to the caller that has the best Joe Rexrode impersonation. Hit us up, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. You can impersonate his voice. You can impersonate him yelling at Stillman. You can impersonate his bad football takes sometimes. Whatever you want to do, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025.
If no one calls, does that mean?
I think people are intimidated.
Yeah, it could mean, great tickets. It's a drive, but, it's a good event.
This is a big tournament.
It's a big-time tournament. So I would assume there's just an intimidation factor.
I think there's a little bit of, there's Joe Rexrode. He's right in front of you.
I get it. I mean, it's hard to sound this beautiful,
It is. Hard to look this beautiful, hard to sound this beautiful. It's just the complete package that Rexrode brings to the table.
Yeah, and don't get it wrong. I mean, you don't have to go on Zoom and try to look like me. That's a different chore altogether.
Maybe we'll do that another day.
There's someone on the text line, though, that has like a GIF of a big guy falling over in his chair that's an impersonation of me, apparently.
You just crash.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate that.
Oh, we've got some people calling in now. Oh, can't wait.
This should be really special.
I'm sure have you ever looked forward to a segment more than you're looking forward to this right now?
Like I said, I hate my own voice, so don't be too good.
I can't wait. Personally, I'm hoping for maybe I shouldn't say what I'm hoping for since I'm going to judge the contest. But there's a certain thing here that I'm hoping for that if it happens, you've got a good chance to win. But I'll leave that to myself until we see it. Let's bring on Adam in Portland, who would like to give this a shot first. Adam, thanks for calling in to Robby and Rexrode.
It's pretty short, but I've been listening to him long enough. So this is always Joe. He goes, so is what I'm about to say right now about to piss everybody off? Sure. Is every team in the listening area terrible? Without question. Let's go. Every single time.
I like it. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So what do you think that means from Adam in Portland? Are you taking some shots at everybody's team out there? You just don't care who's in your path?
I do have the disclaimer a lot. Like, this is gonna blah, blah, blah.
It's going to ruffle some feathers.
Like yesterday, the not changing the steering wheel for Katie. Which she
how'd that go, by the way?
She didn't hear it, so
good.
I'm not telling her. I'm not going to tell her I said that.
615-737-1025. Let's go back to the 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Bill, who wants to weigh in. Bill, thanks for calling in to Robby and Rexrode.
Thanks so much, Mr. Corned Beef Hash Mary Kitchen, right?
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So, okay, here it's 7 words and 8 syllables. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
A mighty team that will not yield.
Oh, just beautiful.
That was great.
That was
Bill,
very
well done. Very well done.
I have a son that lives in Grosse Pointe. He graduated from Michigan State, and I sing that to him every time I talk to him. Thanks so much, Joe. All right.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate that. All right, so Bill brought the noise there. That's a strong contender.
That was pretty good. He really hit the yield. He hit the note on yield pretty well.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More of your best impersonations of Joe Rexrode. Once again, the winner will receive a pair of tickets to the FedEx St. Jude Classic coming up in Memphis on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th as well, which, by the way, I kind of want these tickets, but I'm not eligible.
Yeah. Do we have any extras so we could give you some? I mean, could you do something to try to earn some? I don't know.
I don't think so.
You can ask Chase.
We can ask him. I don't think that's how it works. So we've had Adam call in. We've had Bill call in. Let's go back to the 1025 The Game phone line and welcome in Will, who wants to weigh in. Will, thanks for calling in to Robby and Rexrode.
Love the show. Love Joe. Love everybody. I'm not trying to be picking on him or anything, but it's with Stillman, he gives the, you don't look at it like that.
Very nicely done, Will. Very nicely done.
I need to hear that again.
Thank you, Will. I appreciate the I feel like a really good opportunity for impersonating you is just going back and listening to a nice Jared versus Joe segment. Maybe the Jared versus Joe segment from last week where there's a little bit of screaming that went on.
Yeah, that was man, I was out of control on that one. So I need to hear that. What did he do right there? It sounded like he just went,
You do that sometimes.
You do that sometimes when
It's
you're
amazing.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, whatever, Jared. Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
God, see, this is so sobering.
I'm in love with how uncomfortable you are right now.
Megan had a great text. I hope someone calls in, pretends to be muted for a second before they begin. That's really good, Megan. You got it. That should almost win. The text, that text should almost win. You know?
It's amazing. Matter of fact, well, I will say, you've been a little bit better about the mutes as of late.
Yeah. I've gotten better. I've made progress.
You have made progress. 615-737-1025. We got more people calling in right now. So we've had Adam call in, Bill call in, Will call in as well. We'll continue to take your thoughts. Again, the winner of the best Joe Rexrode impersonation will receive a pair of tickets to the FedEx St. Jude Classic in Memphis coming up on Saturday, August 13th and Sunday, August 14th as well. Let's go back to the 102.5 The Game phone line and welcome in Howard, who wants to weigh in. Howard, thanks for calling in.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say that I have no idea what Joe Rexrode sounds like, but I do want the tickets.
Okay. All right, then. Well, Howard, we appreciate you calling in.
I thought he was there was some weird jiggling in the background. I thought he was trying to because we've had some weird stuff in the studio, but apparently that was just his own issues going on.
That was a weird comment, Joe.
Well, no, did you hear all the rustling and stuff? I was like, oh, okay, he's trying to, we've had some chaotic moments in the studio, some chairs exploding, things like that.
Yes, we've had that.
Yeah.
Which I believe was what Ron was getting at on the text line with the chair blowing up.
Yeah, yes.
I love how he said, I have no clue what Rexrode sounds like. I really like these tickets.
I'm right here, man.
So who is your winner so far?
I kind of like the whenever someone sings a Lions fight song, gets
the juices flowing.
Yeah, gets you pumped up. I'd probably go there. What about you?
I think that's probably the winner. Bill is our winner of the Joe Rexrode impersonation contest. Congratulations, Bill.
Good job, Bill.
Hit the note really well. The Lions. What is the official name of this Lions fight song, by the way? Do they have a name?
Gridiron Heroes. Let me make sure, but yes, I'm quite sure. Gridiron Heroes. That will not yield. There you go.
I mean, Bill's pretty close there.
It is Gridiron Heroes. It is the victory song of the Detroit Lions.
You don't hear very often.
It's been sung at least 12 to 14 times.
So, Bill, congratulations. Call back in, and Michelle will get your information, and you'll have those tickets to go check out the FedEx St. Jude Classic coming up in Memphis on Saturday, August 13th, and Sunday, August 14th as well.
Good job, Bill. Let's all never do this again. Okay?
Good job, Bill. But I did love the one where it was like, okay, you're right, I'm wrong.
No, next time we do this, we're going to have a contest impersonating Stillman. There's no question about it.
Oh, man. I just won.
615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. There is some Preds news to get to and some potential, some more news today. We'll get to that coming up on the other side as well, and maybe this will be the last move the Predators make this offseason. We'll get to that coming up next. You can go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. This season, all customers will give $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run. So I've told you about the Yankees all year long. Aaron Judge continues to just crush the ball. His 43rd home run last night. I'd go there as often as possible. I'd go with the Braves as well. Austin Riley, big contract yesterday. Those are the two teams that I would look at. But take it any way you want to take it. What are you waiting on? Just pick your home run hitter and turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. So head on over to your FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code ROB. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max bonus of $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, Preds fans.
Sliding across to make the save is Sarah.
You can now hear Nashville's best sports talk.
The backhander, he scores!
And every Predators game on 106.3 FM.
Oh, that was a thing of beauty.
From downtown Nashville to Rutherford and Williamson counties.
Duchesne with the overtime winner.
Catch all the action on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Discover matches all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Automatically. Discover. Something brighter. Learn more at discover.com/match.
Are you ready for this?
You've never seen the PBR like this. Buckle up for the ultimate weekend in Western sports as the PBR Team Series invades Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, August 19th through the 21st. 8 teams, 3 days, 1 champion. Don't miss your chance to watch history as it's made. Get your tickets now at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.com. PBR Team Series. Bull riding will never be the same.
Join ESPN 1025 The Game, Brentwood Fire and Police, the Williamson County Sheriff's Department, and the Nolensville Fire and Rescue for the 9th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 17th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Brentwood Library on Concord Road. This year's blood drive will be in memory of Williamson County Deputy Chandler Rowe. Support the 9th Annual Williamson County Battle of the Badges Blood Drive, Wednesday, August 17th, sponsored by BL Harbor International.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
If you missed the latest from Robby and Rexrode.
But the problem is that you're starting with a false premise. Yes, Tannehill threw a few picks in camp. You've now revised the history. And he was bad. Like it was a big story last year. I want you to go back. I want you to spend some time today, and I want you to go back and find all the instances of coverage, whatever it was, you, us, anything written about the bad.
Why do I have to do that?
Because you are the one with a stupid opinion. So you have to back it up.
You're the one that is saying that what I said is not true.
It's not, Jared. It's not accurate.
It has been discussed about Tannehill's interceptions in training camp last year.
We talked.
And now you are putting the burden of proof on me to prove that you're wrong or right.
Right. So
no.
Hold on. No. You're not going to hijack another 90 seconds straight. Hold on. Listen. That is not what happened last year. He threw a couple days for sure. It was like, wow, Tannehill. We talked about it. He is throwing more picks this camp. So, what and I remember saying, he's taking some chances. Whatever it was, Jared, like if you honestly think that like training camp performance for a quarterback always then follows in the regular season and then the postseason, come on, that's not true. You're putting. Listen, hold on. No, hold on. You're putting way too much stock in camp. The reason he's not a story this camp, like the bigger story, because camp is for things we don't know.
Tune in Robby and Rex with Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Other banks go out of their way to make redeeming credit card rewards needlessly complicated. Like how they require minimums or force you to use your rewards before reaching some arbitrary expiration date. But Discover isn't like that. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. So you'll never have to jump through hoops. Unless you're like a trapezist, then by all means, go right ahead. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN. Welcome into Chase, Willie, and D-Mates.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators.
Scores!
Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Make sure you don't miss 102.5 The Game's 1 hour Big Machine Music City Grand Prix pre-race special tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. presented by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Make sure you check that out. Coming up tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, there is some Predators news to monitor today. Today is the scheduled date for the arbitration hearing between the Predators and Yakov Trenin. Now, Elliot Friedman put this out there over the weekend. And the filings for the arbitration hearing were the Predators, the team, filed 2 years at $1.35 million per year, and Trenin's reps filed a 1-year deal at $2.4 million. So basically, this is how arbitration hearings go. Players asking for a lot, teams asking for very little, and usually they're going to meet somewhere in the middle at the arbitration hearing if it gets to the arbitration hearing, it's going to be a 1 or 2 year deal for Yakov Trenin at that point. There's still some time before the hearing is done to get a deal done if you're the Predators, if you wanted to go a little bit longer term with Yakov Trenin. But I think either way, we're going to get an answer probably at some point today as to what this looks like with Yakov Trenin. So the hearing scheduled for today between the Preds and Trenin's side of things. What do you make of the filing for the Predators? 2 years at $1.35 million. Again, Elliot Friedman reporting that over the weekend. And Trenin at 1 year at $2.4. What do you think this ultimately looks like? And if you're the arbiter in this case, what do you think the deal ultimately looks like from a money standpoint? Again, knowing it's going to be at least a 1 or 2 year deal if the arbitration hearing takes place.
My big takeaway is you look at something like this, and then when you're talking about like the money flying around in like football, baseball, and basketball, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
You're quibbling about $1 million. That's the quibble here is $1 million.
Yeah.
To me, I'd side with Trenin. I think he's worth $2 million a year. What he gives them?
I think $2 million's about right in that area is about right.
I mean, I'm fine with 2.4. I think that's fine. I mean,
I wouldn't go 2.4.
You wouldn't go 2.4?
No.
So now you're quibbling over $400,000.
Well, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, so what's your limit? The 2.1? You just two flat?
Well, I don't think he's getting. I think the fact that he's asking for 2.4 probably tells you that he knows he's not getting 2.4.
Yeah.
So I look. I think it's going to end up somewhere in the 1.8, 1.9, $2 million range per year.
Okay,
is my guess.
If I was the Preds, I'd be happy to lock up Trenin for like 4 years at $2 million a year.
Right. I would too. From his side of things, I think a shorter term deal at that number probably makes some sense because if he continues to progress and he continues to produce, and let's say he produces even more, well, then you can get more money here in a couple of years when your deal's up. I mean, he's still a young guy out there, so does he want a long-term deal? I mean, Alex Doherty put it out there, I think earlier this morning, from a piece that was translated. Apparently, Trenin's agent said, and let me pull up that quote real quick.
More Alex Doherty translation.
Yeah,
really,
says, quote,
really
both sides want to build a long-term relationship and sign a long contract, which is translated. But it sounds like the two parties will go to the hearing tomorrow. This is from Alex Doherty late last night. So, if it gets to, and I've said this before, I don't think either side really ever wants it to go to arbitration. Like, usually that's not very pleasant. I remember the Shea Weber one wasn't very pleasant. Rocco Grimaldi was pretty open about it on the record about how much he did not enjoy the arbitration experience, which I think he ended up being awarded a 1 year, $1 million deal at the time of his arbitration. But I mean, look, basically the job when it gets to the arbitration hearing itself is the team is trying to convince the independent arbiter of all these reasons why you don't need to make as much money as you think you need to make, and sometimes feelings get hurt in that process. And by sometimes, I mean pretty much every time. Feelings get hurt in that process. So it's not a very pleasant experience for the player. I don't think it's a very comfortable experience for the team either. Basically just presenting the case against the player right in front of their faces at the arbitration hearing. So if at all possible, I'd like to see the Predators probably avoid that with Yakov Trenin, but my guess is they're probably going to go to this hearing later today.
25 years old, 6'2", 201, 17 goals last season, and part of just an all-around. I think he didn't get talked about enough last season. Tanner Jeannot was obviously the story. That line was terrific, and Trenin was excellent. And he played in 80 games too. He's available. He wasn't hurt. There's a lot to like about Trenin that to me says certainly he's worth paying $2 million a year. So, yeah, I would try to make that deal. That is an interesting question if you're him. I mean, if you do a 2-year deal, then okay, and you keep progressing, yeah, maybe you could be set up to make a little bit more at age 27. But it's not like at age 29, 28, you would be, you still would have another crack at it. I suspect, there's not going to be some, big revelation in his game. No. But this is a guy that this is winning hockey teams have guys like this, And again, he's got some skill and ability to finish. So $2 million to me, it is. I feel like that's a nice number.
Well, and you can count on one hand the guys in the playoff series against Colorado that really were noticeable out there and made a difference. And, I mean, he's one of those guys. He had 3 goals in 4 games. I mean, played as well as anybody in that playoff series against Colorado. So that helps you. Like, he's never going to be a top 6 forward, I don't think. Like, he's not going to be some 30-goal guy. He could get to 20. He had 17 this year. And then, the thing that was interesting about him and about Jeannot, and I'll single out those two because Sissons is a little bit of a different player, but they just basically fell apart offensively at the end of the year. So, I mean, I thought he was going to get 20 this year. And if you got 20 and you're talking about 2 at least, and then you're probably getting into the $3 million just based on his overall production and what he brings to the table. Like, to me, if you're the Predators, he's the type of player that I'm almost kind of surprised it got to this point because I thought earlier in the offseason he was a prime candidate for one of those David Poile specials that I referred to of, all right, we're going to give you a lot of term at a lower AAV, and here's your security. I mean, they did it with Sissons. They did it with Yarncroke. Like, he, to me, was a prime candidate for, all right, well, we'll give you a 5-6-year deal at $1.9 million per year.
You're getting that money in this league, so you're getting the money.
So, obviously, that has not happened to this point. That could still happen before the hearing, but, if it's a 1 or 2 year deal, then you've got that goes back into the Fabro-Carrier discussion of, let's say they get through this arbitration process and it's a 1 year deal. Well, then you look at next year and you've got Fabro up, Carrier up, Jeannot up, and then Trennan will be up again. So that just further complicates that logjam next year that you've got to try to sort out if you're David Poile.
Yeah. If you're David Poile, you certainly want some term here, right?
I would think. I mean, they did file 2 years, so maybe it's the 2 years that they want. I don't know. Like, I think some would be preferable for sure.
Like, if you have – does it ever happen where you have these filings but then completely different deal that's made? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in other words, they filed 2 years, 135, but now they're like, okay, we'll do 3, 175.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, because that'd be to me, if they get him under 2 and they get him for 2+ years, that's a win for the club.
We'll see what happens on the Yakov-Trennan front, but Joe, it kind of feels like once that's settled one way or the other, it's probably it for the Predators just in terms of offseason moves. My guess. You can always make a trade, and those can materialize pretty quickly, as we saw with Matthew Tkachuk. Doesn't take very long for something like that to happen, but my guess is once they get Trennan sorted out, that's probably it for the offseason.
So, if that's the case, better team?
I think so.
Intriguing team. Could be a good team.
Could be a good team.
Didn't rattle the earth with this offseason, but a couple really good ads.
Yep, no question about it. So we'll see what happens on the Yakov-Trennan front. Coming up next, it is time for the Rex Rant. Joe Rexrode's rant of the day. As always, we'll take your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Here they come, turn 4, final lap.
Hey, it's Chase McKay. Be sure to join me Wednesday at 6 o'clock for a special Chasing Checkers previewing the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. It's all presented by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical right here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobe. It's hot, humid, and stormy for today. High temperatures in the middle 90s. Factoring in the humidity, we'll feel close to 100 in the middle of the afternoon. Scattered showers and storms throughout the day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
We're Saia LTL Freight. For nearly a century, our team has been committed to driving business forward. From Lady Liberty to the Golden Gate, Superstore to Corner Store. We go that extra mile, expanding our team to better serve you. So trust that when you partner with Saia, we take every delivery personally. Visit Saia.com for all your shipping needs. That's SAIA.com.
Get ready for back to school at Electronic Express. Get an LG 55-inch 4K TV for $399 or a Hotpoint washer and dryer pair for $849. Save up to 40% in every department at Electronic Express. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on a Lenovo 2-in-1 computer for $699 or an Elite Gourmet air fryer for just $49. Shop in-store or online with free financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You're not required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-249-8866. 800-249-8866. That's 800-249-8866.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business, especially in today's economy. But over 31,000 businesses do know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and inventory, so you can manage risk and improve margins. Everything you need, all in one place. See why NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/KJM. netsuite.com/KJM.
Chase McCabe.
My play didn't work for him, and the way he coached didn't work for me.
Willie Donick.
It's survival of the fittest.
And Derek Mason.
A win-win-win across the board.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. The time is now for the Rex Rant.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
On Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take you to Bermuda.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rex Rant here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Joe Rexrode's rant of the day. A little Kokomo coming back in. I'm going to the beach this weekend, so this is really setting the mood very nicely.
Where are you going?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Wait, are you gone next week?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, crap.
Joe and Mike won. We love it.
Oh, what are we going to do?
Probably going to fall apart, but it's okay.
Total crisis here. I feel like this is I feel like more of a narcissist than normal during this hour. There's been a lot of, like, me stuff here. And this is another one. So I'm going to tell you a little story. This is my hotel room in Knoxville the other day. I was drinking a hazy IPA, eating out of a bag of barbecue chips, and then I topped it off with a nice Hershey's bar with almonds.
Okay.
So I got home yesterday and I weighed myself and I came in at 255. Same height, graduating high school.
Yeah.
165.
Wow.
Okay. All of which is to say I am having a midlife fat crisis. And it's over. I'm done. And I put this on the fridge yesterday, and of course Katie was like, "We're not putting this on the front of the fridge. You can put it on the side of the fridge." But I wrote on a big thing. I said, August 1st, 2022, Dad weighed 255. December 31st, 2022, Dad will weigh 205. That is my birthday. It is my 50th birthday. I'm
205.
205. I'm dropping 50 before I get to 50. And this is not, and again, believe me, this is not like some, I'm not trying to impress anyone, but I feel like crap. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like crap, and it's because of my lack of discipline daily in what I'm putting in my body. So that's over. I'm pissed. I'm pissed at myself, and I'm going to do this. So I've told everybody in my family, like, you got to hold me to this. Like, you just got to eat healthy. It's not. The weight just is an indication then of what you're doing to the inside of your body, which once you get to this age, I'm sure some people out there can relate. It just, like, if you have to take Pepsid on a daily basis, which I do, that tells you, like, you're doing something wrong here. Pepsid, which is, I saw your look of confusion there, Michelle. So
it's not a soft drink.
Pepto-Bismol.
Well, no, it's not Pepto. Yeah, a nice Pepsid pop. It's acid reduction. So basically, if I have like tomato sauce or pork or things like that, especially. But honestly, if I just eat a lot of sugar, a lot of crap, then I get acid reflux.
The coffee probably doesn't help either.
I don't know, but that's
haven't they done studies on this? Like the coffee doesn't really
coffee, especially on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I mean I'm going with coffee's great for you. Okay,
yeah,
that's not negotiable. I'm going to go with coffee's great for you.
That's right.
I don't think that's a big. I mean, a lot of soda, or as I call it, pop. Now that's another one that. Yeah. So if anyone out there sees me out and about, and I'm eating like a bacon cheeseburger, remind me, grilled chicken, a nice salad would work. If I'm drinking like an IPA or a porter, how about a nice lager maybe?
Yeah. Or a Mick Ultra.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's technically a lager. It's just a super light. I hate that though. But yeah, it's basically water. But I'm not messing around. So every month I'm gonna give you guys a weight report.
Okay.
Because again, I want to make sure that this is about internal health. Okay. The weight is just if that's your goal, then you're going to do things that will make your body healthier. Like like you're going to do things that I'm assuming if I could like look inside, it wouldn't be pretty right now. So 50 by 50, that is the goal. So I'm going to do a monthly weigh-in for you.
I have to ask you this because it's concern to me, and it's of legitimately not knowing. Is it healthy to lose that amount of weight in a 4-month span?
Yeah, I
legitimately don't know.
That's a fair question. I mean, it's a 5-month span, right? So I have August, September, October.
Well, I guess
November,
it
December.
is the beginning of August.
So I got 5. So essentially 10 pounds a month. Is that healthy? I feel like it is. I feel like it's ambitious, but I think that the only way to do it, because here's another thing. I'm not doing like some diet. Like I'm not doing. I mean, Katie and I have tried different, we've done different diets, stuff like that. We've done like Atkins, and I know people who've done the Whole30 recently, and there's always going to be a diet. That's not this. This is like daily. The one thing I'm doing is I'm taking a log of everything that I ingest. So I did that yesterday. I'm going to write down everything that I ingest because you just all of a sudden look up and it's like, oh, wow, that whole bag of corn chips is gone, or oh, yes, that whole row of Girl Scout cookies, the Samoas, are gone. Like, I'm going to take
the best kind.
They are great.
They are the best. Careful notes on what I'm doing. But I think if it's not healthy, then I probably should reconsider. But I think it just means it's a lifestyle.
Well, I'm legitimately asking for your sake. So it may be healthy. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's. I think basically it's like 2 pounds a week, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's doable.
It basically means that you are like
you're changing your lifestyle.
Yeah. And it's got to happen. Yeah. And to me, it's like once I know other people who have like maybe more different kinds of midlife crises, but this is one of those like you start approaching 50 and it's like, so how long like are you going to have a quality of life if you aren't healthy, And that's also a big part of this is exercise too, because you have to do that. And I'm not doing it regularly enough, but that's changing too.
Yeah. So I went through a similar thing about 2 months ago. I stepped on the scale. I was like, oh man, basically I ran. I was like, I can't run anymore. Like down the street without being out of breath. So I've been to the YMCA for 2 months. Feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it been a weight loss thing or just sort of because if you're lifting, then you can gain weight and be healthier.
Right.
I'm just not going to lift.
Yeah, I mean I haven't tried to lose that much weight. I've lost some since I started, but I have started lifting too. There's actual muscle in my body now that's not just totally fat.
Weighs twice as much as fat, by the way.
Dennis on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, I hit that point 2 weeks ago. Almost hit 230. Now I'm using the MyFitnessPal app. If I can get under 200, I'll be happy. But my weight will probably go to arbitration, and I'll end up around 215. This is coming from Dennis on the text line.
Guys, this is a great, getting into the fall. I'm going to join this too. Now I'm motivated to work out because I don't. So, and MyFitnessPal is great. You can scan the barcode on the back of your food, and you can be like, I had 10 chips or I had 15 chips. And then it tells you how many carbs, how many calories. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, that's good. An app could be good.
Maybe a salad tour, not the burger tour with Jack.
I know that's the thing too. That's the hard part. Is meanwhile, I have many burgers that I have to eat before Jack goes to college. So
do no bun.
Maybe so.
Well, but then how do you judge a burger? That's a huge part of judging a burger.
It is.
Right?
Do half a bun.
Well, one thing that I will do is so it's like we're judging the fries too. Like I can have 2. Yeah. Have 2 fries. You know what they taste like. Don't eat the whole portion of fries, right? But still, that's a tricky one on the burger front.
I have a text on my own personal text line, which you're gonna love. Skip Stillman texting in says, "Should the Stillman and Company show be the accountability holder for Joe? Do you want Jared in charge of keeping you accountable?"
I mean, does he want me to actually step on a scale during the show?
I don't know.
We'll be your cheerleader, right? Robbie and I'll be like, "Go, Joe, you got this." We'll encourage you, and then Jared can give the "Come on, Joe, this isn't good enough," basically.
Yes.
So you get both sides.
Please have Jared motivating you.
I think I'd rather just scream at him. Let's just keep it to how we got it. Thanks, Jared. Thanks for the offer, though.
I got a text that says, "Good luck, Rexrode. It's going to be a challenge during football and holiday season. Choose lifting weights / building muscle instead of doing cardio."
Yeah, so, I hear you. I mean, I lifted weights when I was in sports. I lifted weights in college when I was trying to impress members of the opposite sex.
Katie Rexrode.
I think by the time I met her, I had already given up. I'm lifting, I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy working out. I don't enjoy working out for the sake of working out. I don't like running. I like playing sports. That's what I'm going to do. We'll see if it works out for me.
Yeah.
If you go play hoops for an hour, that's
that'll get you going.
Right. Tennis. So if anybody wants to play hoops or tennis with me, let me know. Lifting is just I think I'm done with that.
Adam in Portland on the text line says, "Jared's about to treat you like Traylon Burks, just yelling, 'You're fat.'" Hey man, but if you can get those quick results like Traylon Burks, you'll be good.
Yeah, maybe I should ask him. There's a lot of that.
Just hop into camp, Joe.
The text line is hopping right now. Let me tell you,
a lot of Jared on the text line. This is not us bringing Jared up, by the way.
It is not.
It's Jared texting in and people texting about him. You guys are obsessed with Jared.
Josh from Lebanon texting in says, "Okay, Joe, if I see you eating a cookie during first intermission in the media lounge, I will remind you of the 50 and 50. I'm a replay tech for the Preds." There we go. We got people everywhere monitoring Rexrode now. So you've done this. You've made this public. Now there would be people from all walks of life just monitoring your weight loss journey.
It's like, anybody ever seen the movie Cat's Eye? Have you ever heard of this movie?
No.
Nope.
Well, it's a Stephen King short story movie with different stories, but one of them is this. It's one of his short stories about trying to quit smoking. We got to go to break, but anyway, it's like spies all in his house. He has people watching him, and it's like it's messed up. But anyway, that's what just came to mind for me. So, yeah. Keep an eye on me, but don't freak me out. The Preds intermission lounge. What do we usually do in there? Well, sometimes they have interesting meals, which are sometimes healthy.
Sometimes.
The cookies. See, Glennon always hits the cookies.
Yeah.
Glennon, we're gonna have Glennon next. Glennon, great shape. But
he
plays soccer.
He plays soccer. Maybe that's what you got to do.
Maybe that's it. I'd play soccer.
Kick the soccer ball around a little bit. Right. We're gonna do this together. A health journey together here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your participation. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by John Glennon from SI.com. We'll get his thoughts on all things Tennessee Titans. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game.
And he's going. Nobody's going to catch him. Derrick Henry, touchdown.
We talk the game.
I don't think it was a bad play, but he took out their goalie.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, ovals, pear shapes.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Harmon Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harmon Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
In today's economy, employers and employees should be working together to create safe, good-paying jobs with no unnecessary government overreach. Right to work does not belong in the state constitution. Tennesseans, this voting season, vote no on Amendment 1. Visit TennesseeWorkersAlliance.org, paid for by the Nashville Building Trades.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Listen to Stillman and Company with me, Caroline Fenton, all season long on ESPN 102.5 The Game for your chance to win Nashville Sounds tickets, courtesy of 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robby and Rexrode, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 3, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in John Glennon from SI.com. John, what's going on? How we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys this morning?
We are great. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, John, we talked earlier in the show about Traylon Burks. He's been turning heads pretty consistently for about a week now at Titans camp. How big a deal is it? You know, I don't want to overreact 1 week into camp, but what have been your thoughts on what Traylon Burks has been able to accomplish thus far?
Well, I think, first of all, we got to give him credit. Certainly, I think a lot of questions were rightfully asked about Traylon Burks, a first-round draft pick who was having a hard time even getting on the field during, rookie mini camp and mini camp and OTAs and so forth. So I think it's only natural that there were some concerns, from people who are watching this. Now, on the other hand, what I had always been saying was that's the story until it's not a story. Well, that's not the story right now. We're seeing why Traylon Burks was a first-round draft pick. Some of the catches that he has been making the last couple days, I thought one in particular that really stood out yesterday in a red zone drill, very well covered. He got a favorable matchup with Zach Cunningham, but Zach Cunningham had him very well covered. Cunningham had his back to Ryan Tannehill. So Ryan Tannehill just kind of looked at Burks and seemed to kind of say, I'm going to give you a chance. Threw it back shoulder to him. Burks kind of goes up in the air, twisting, back shoulder catch. Really nice move. And that, to me, that was a pretty good illustration of just how far Traylon Burks has come in a relatively short amount of time. So I think it's a fairly significant deal what we're seeing so far.
So, Rookie of the Year, then? Is this what you're saying? Are you making that call right now?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. But I'm just saying, from what we saw, it would have been different if he just came out and had a decent off season. We wouldn't maybe be saying the same things necessarily because we wouldn't have seen the same change. But, the amount of this transformation is what's really eye-opening to me.
On another rookie, and I missed all of you especially, John, but I was with the Vols yesterday, not the Titans. I'm sure you guys were all lamenting my absence, but it sounds like Roger McCreary was really good yesterday. I feel like he's been good. You have your ups and downs, and you're already designed to lose in one-on-ones, right, if you're a DB. But I've been impressed with him, but it sounds like he was really good yesterday. My question for you is, do you think that he could push either Farley or Molden for a starting job on this team? And, of course, Molden has been banged up.
I don't think that's too much of a stretch to at least ask that question. Roger McCreary didn't play a lot of slot when he was at Auburn, but I think both Roger and the Titans feel he has the skills to play that position if necessary. He's got quickness. He's got some excellent, feet and so forth. So I think that is a possibility that kind of adds to his versatility there. So if I'm Elijah Molden, I'm thinking maybe this injury better not keep me down for too long out there. But I also think, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he pushes Farley as well. Certainly Farley has impressed in terms of how well he's recovered in health, and the natural skills are evident in some of Farley's play as well. But we got to remember this whole time that Farley just hasn't played a ton the last couple of years. 60 snaps over 2 seasons, whereas the last 2 years McCreary has been knocking away passes left and right in the SEC. So, as you said, Joe, you did miss quite a show by Roger McCreary yesterday. You know how quick those little sessions are, 7-on-7 drills or so forth. Maybe they're 5 minutes or 10 minutes most. In one of those sessions, Roger McCreary knocked away 3 passes, and I think over the course of the practice, there were at least 5 or 6 passes that he got his hands on. So, pretty impressive day for Roger McCreary. Maybe even more so when you consider the size of these receivers he's going up against. Not only Traylon Burks, but NWI. Des Fitzpatrick, Racing McMath, etc. He's really showing that those short arms aren't much of a handicap.
John Glennon from SI.com on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, John, I know the pads have just come on, but has there been anything that's really stuck out to you one way or the other so far on the offensive line, particularly at left guard and right tackle on those 2 positions that we've talked so much about this offseason?
Yeah, one day of pads, and I think, probably fortunately from the Titans' sake, I didn't think, there were any of those plays where you saw, an edge rusher screaming towards Ryan Tannehill or Jeffrey Simmons crashing through the line and about to bury Tannehill if it wasn't a non-contact situation. Now, I'm sure, when coaches go back and look over the tape, they'll see much more than all of us did live. But overall impressions, I certainly thought the defense had the better of the day. They started off with a lot of running plays early on. I didn't see a whole lot of running room for the backs. I thought some guys did a good job of getting penetration. Simmons did, obviously, and I thought T.R. Tart had a pretty good showing for himself. But generally, the offense was not as efficient as we had seen, maybe in the first 4 days or so. Tannehill's completion, percentage was not as good. There were a couple of mistakes in lineups and so forth. Was that all necessarily related to pads? I don't know if you can say that's a direct correlation, but I do know that, more so than in the run game for Radens and Brewer, I think it's going to be about pass protection, how they hold up. And we might get some idea, certainly, in training camp and with the practices against the other NFL teams. But, I think in the run game, they're at least solid. Brewer's a good athlete. He can move. He's lightweight. And that's Radens has always, been stronger in the run than in the pass. So I think the real question is whether these guys can stand up in pass pro.
Yeah, and then also my question is just, did the backups challenge them? I mean, are they progressing? I mean, I feel like obviously you got a rookie in Petit Frere, so you got to expect that there's going to be some learning curve, things like that. But you want that to be, I guess you want those to be competitions, I would think, right? I guess for the right reasons, because they're both elevating each other rather than you just can't figure out anyone who's good enough to start. But I'm also wondering if Jamarco Jones is going to be one of those pickups that just isn't what the Titans thought when they signed him.
Yeah, you kind of wondered at the time when they signed him, is this a guy that they're expecting to contend for a starting spot, or is he one of those more kind of guys that are kind of expected to be a valuable reserve type player? So it's a tough call. I think certainly, I feel like Brewer and Radens are at least penciled in at those starting spots. And, I think everything we read in terms of scouting reports, at least on Petit Frere, was that this is a guy, a lot of skills, a lot of potential, a lot of athleticism, but maybe would need, a little bit of a year of seasoning before he kind of stepped into that starting lineup. So my guess would be that is sort of the timetable for Petit Frere. To me, I still think there's a little bit of a question mark, in terms of potential free agents that might get added down the line. Again, we've got to give Brewer and Radens and Jamarco and Petit Frere, at least a couple of weeks here in pads before I think the Titans will make any decisions. But, if they determine at that point, maybe we need to bolster one of these spots or who knows, even bolster both of those spots. I think there's some guys out there now, and I think more guys generally become available, as camp goes on via waivers and so forth.
John, last thing for you here. What's your read on Malik Willis so far and exactly where he is in your mind?
Yeah, ups and downs for Malik Willis, I would say, which is probably expected. I didn't think he had the greatest of a stature day. He had a set of reps in one drill where about 3 passes in a row were not what he liked. And then he threw a pick yesterday, which was not necessarily entirely his fault. He had a receiver slip on him. Looked like the pass might have been a little bit late coming out, but can't pin it entirely on him. On the other hand, you sometimes see the touch that Malik Willis has, especially when he's kind of throwing sort of those deep balls down the sideline. And he yesterday he had a nice one in the red zone. He kind of lofted a pass, let Reggie Roberson run right underneath it after he beat Greg Maben. You say, oh yeah, I see that touch, I see that skill. But I think the biggest issue to me in Malik Willis is just the hesitation that we see, and Mike Vrabel has talked about it in terms of timing. There are times where Malik Willis seems to have a receiver or two open, but just isn't willing to pull that trigger right away, and that's something that he's going to have to learn to do. I guess on the plus side, maybe you prefer the guy as being more cautious now than if he's afraid of an interception or committing a turnover. Maybe you prefer the fact that he errs on the side of caution, but at some point he's going to have to be able to get rid of that ball quickly, improve that timing situation. And again, good news here is that it's basically going to be a redshirt year for Malik Willis, most likely. He's not the first-round pick. There are not huge expectations for him to start on opening day. So it's okay if he's allowed to progress a little slower than he might have if he was the 18th pick overall in the draft.
John Glennon from SI.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. John, great stuff as always. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. John Glennon, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll continue the conversation on the Titans, get Joe's thoughts on Malik Willis coming up next as well, and what would we consider to be a success for this Titans team this season? Kind of ties into our discussion from yesterday. We'll get more of your thoughts on that next. 615-737-1025. Attention men, have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, Hillside Medical Clinic has a breakthrough treatment for ED that does not require any pills, injections, or surgery. And right now, Miles joins me from Hillside Medical Clinic to tell us all about it. Miles, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? For 30 years, we've had pills, needles, injections, and surgery to treat ED, all with varying levels of success, but all come with side effects and downtime. Now we have a technology, not a pill, called acoustic wave therapy, and it's changing the way we're looking at treating ED. It's a little machine. It sits right on the skin. Gentle pressure waves travel through the skin into the blood vessels, helping them to expand, oftentimes repair themselves. So unlike those traditional methods, you could be seeing an end date to your ED.
So, Miles, what kinds of clinical studies have been done on this acoustic wave therapy technology?
Well, if you check out our site at hillsidemedicalclinic.com, you'll find 60 independent placebo-controlled clinical studies. Cambridge and the Cleveland Clinic have looked at this, calling it safe and effective. More are coming in every day. Some are even calling it the new standard of care for treatment of ED. And
you have a special offer if our listeners call in right now.
As always, give us a call right now, 615-576-5000. You'll receive the exam, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound all for free, plus the additional gift that provides powerful results in the bedroom. That's coming at no charge to you. All you got to do is give us a call.
That's right, guys. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction by treating the root cause of the problem. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for that offer at 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your ED and regain your love life. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now at 615-576-5000.
And here we go! Every Tuesday at 11. The Music City Grand Prix is green! Chase, Willie, and D-Mace will get you set for the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix by talking to some of IndyCar's best drivers.
Pleased to be joined by Scott Dixon.
I can't wait, man, and thanks for having me on, and looking forward to getting back to Nashville.
Weekly driver interviews are presented by Social Furniture, where we sell comfort. Shop local, shop social at 5412 Charlotte Avenue, and by the Nashville Sheriff on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Getting enough sides so you don't have to share? That's finger licking good. Order the KFC Side Lovers meal today and get 3 large KFC sides served with 8 pieces of tenders or fried chicken. Prices and participation may vary.
Hey, Nashville, what's the best part of hockey? That's rhetorical. We all know the answer. It's the 3-on-3 overtime, the speed, the skill, the tic-tac-toe passing. It is electric. Well, now there is a new, totally 3-on-3 ice hockey league called 3 Ice, coming to the Music City on August 6th. They're playing at Bridgestone Arena, and tickets are available now at 3ice.com. 6 teams touring across 9 cities, playing a bracket-style tournament at each stop. It's overtime all the time. Hair on fire hockey. Log on to 3ice.com for tickets now.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s and 15-year loans with APRs that start with 3. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Don't be confused by the media's hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have plummeted recently, and they're currently refinancing homeowners who locked in a 5 or 6% rate. So if you've got a rate over 5%, or if your lender has you pre-approved or locked in at anything 5% or higher, you need to call Loan Pronto now. Not all lender rates are created equal. Loan Pronto's rates are down big time, and you need to take advantage, whether you are buying, refinancing, getting cash out, or even if you just closed a few weeks ago. Call Loan Pronto today, and you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto can help keep more money in your pocket. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say? Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm sorry, I just can't focus right now. Davis Mills is on Good Morning Football, and that neck is something else, man. I can't focus.
He just leaned back in his chair. Like, it really is. Like, he's one of the wonders of the world.
He's Inspector
like
Gadget out there, man. It's unbelievable. Oh, God, I love Davis Mills so much.
Has he never squatted ever?
I don't know.
Do some squats.
My favorite quarterback of all time, Davis Mills of the Houston Texans.
Good stuff. What a neck.
Really going above and beyond right now, getting on national TV this early in the morning. Good for you, Davis Mills. Oh, man. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. We'll have Stephen Holder from ESPN coming up at 9 o'clock. Joe, real quickly, I want to get your thoughts on Malik Willis. What have you seen from him thus far? And I guess, are you surprised at anything you've seen with him? Is it about in line of where you thought he would be? What's kind of your view on Malik Willis and how you think the Titans view him at this moment?
Yeah, I don't think it's too far out of line of what I figured. It's just a matter of, you could tell that they were working on footwork and delivery and just a lot of those little mechanical things with him in the spring. So I guess my question was, are you going to see, a significant uptick in consistency? And so far, no. Like Glennon said, he'll make throws that are he makes the most wow throws of anyone, and you can go back and watch his college film and find the same thing. But obviously you have to be able to hit those, you got to be able to basically make those layups every time, and here and there it's just the ball just kind of goes errant on him. But then also the other stuff to me is very much what you would expect from a rookie quarterback in this league. It's you're dropping back and you're not making a quick decision. You're not seeing what you need to see right now. You're not getting rid of the ball. You're patting the ball, then you're taking off with the ball. I mean, this is rookie quarterback in the NFL stuff. But I think the bigger thing with him is just, can he mechanically get to the point where the shorter stuff is right where it needs to be on time all the time? You got to get to that point to be an NFL quarterback. And it's a long process. I think that it's really going to be interesting watch him in game situations, because obviously in practice, running the ball as a quarterback, really, it's just the whistle blows. It's
right.
Okay. I mean, the quarterback's going to get hit anyway. So one of his best attributes really hasn't been able to be on display. What's it look like in an actual football game? That's something that could kind of improve his prospects. But I wouldn't say it's too far outside of what you would expect. I will say that when you're comparing quarterbacks, I probably feel a little bit less confident. And I already picked Logan Woodside to win the two, but I would say I guess I feel more confident in that pick now. I have a hard time seeing Malik Willis leapfrog him. He's going to have to really make a run here for that to be possible.
Well, Rabel was highly complimentary of Logan Woodside last week, and he brought up the studying part of it, which we know Vrabel values.
First thing he brought up.
It's pretty clear that they're big fans of Logan Woodside out there. So, Joe, I want to tie this to the discussion we had yesterday, which was basically, are the Titans still a Super Bowl contender? Do you consider the Titans still in the thick of things in the AFC? And I kind of want to transition that discussion to, all right, with everything we said yesterday, we had different thoughts from fans. Some say, yes, they're still a Super Bowl contender. Some say no. Some say it all comes down to the quarterback, the schedule, all these different things. So with all that in mind, as we start to look, and I'm not asking for an official prediction or anything right now, but what would you consider to be a success for this Titans team? How do you gauge what success or failure looks like for this Titans team this year? I put this up at theGameNashville.com yesterday. I talked yesterday about the sports books not expecting a ton from the Titans. The Titans on FanDuel Sportsbook are plus 3,000 to win the Super Bowl, which is tied with the Eagles for 14th best odds in the league. So 13 teams ahead of them. They're right there kind of in the middle of the league in terms of FanDuel. They have the 9th best odds to win the AFC at plus 1,500. So 9th best in the AFC.
Those aren't bad. Those aren't bad.
No, maybe worth taking a look at. Maybe worth taking a look at. But with all that in mind, what would you consider to be a successful year? How do you define that for the Titans this year?
I would say if the Titans win the AFC South and they win at least one playoff game, then it's a successful year. If they don't win the AFC South, they get in the playoffs and they win at least one playoff game, yeah, that's a successful year too. I mean, it's a disappointing regular season, but one playoff win, and I know that maybe Titans fans right now would be like, that's not enough, but I think that that's a fair classification of a success for this team. Anything short of that is a disappointment. So that's pretty simple to me. Win a playoff game. And, is that is it, if it was last year, that means, you're in the AFC Championship game. And it's interesting because let's say the Titans hadn't just completely, blown up the porta potty and, had
nice quick audible from you there. It was very good.
And, had gotten to the AFC title game, but then they lost to the Chiefs at home. Would we be calling last year a success? It would certainly feel less like a completely blown opportunity, right?
Right.
But would it be a success?
We'd be asking the question, can you get over the hump? But, we probably wouldn't be having the same discussions we're having about Ryan Tannehill right now. I think it would be pretty different if they win that game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they haven't won a playoff game, obviously. They've lost their at home twice to open the playoffs the last 2 years. So that is a success. It's not satisfying, but there's different grades of success. There's one. I mean, if you're really going to strictly define it, one team will have a successful season. For the Titans, where they are, and look, based on what I'm seeing around, not just the odds makers, I just read a Sporting News. They just did their power rankings. It just came out, I think, today or maybe yesterday, and Titans came coming in at a solid 17th.
Yeah.
With the analysis of it, looks like the wheels are falling off in Tennessee. I mean, I feel like this is kind of a popular. I think the Titans are going to be. I'll be really interested to see like our poll at the Athletic and how they're voted. I bet you they are not picked to be in the playoffs. I think a lot of people are just discarding them, which is crazy to me for like a 1 seed.
Yeah.
A 1 seed that did all it did with using the most players ever, but still it's like, but I think some of that is Tannehill, of course. Some of it is Derrick Henry, too. I just think people in general are like, gosh, Derrick Henry, he's old. He's a running back.
Some of it's A.J. Brown. Yeah.
Well, sure. So they do have, psychologically, this is a great situation for them compared to last year. Last year, the expectations were sky high. The offense is going to be generational. And this year it's back to Vrabel can point out to all his players how disrespected they are.
So we throw
and
that.
He will.
Oh, there's no question about that. So we throw that out to you. What would you consider to be a success for the Titans this season? Hit up our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll continue that discussion coming up next. Let me tell you about my friends at Twin Peaks. They'll hook you up for your fantasy football draft party, fantasy football right around the corner, which includes a draft board, player stickers, free Wi-Fi, a $50 bonus for the commish, and a $5 bonus card for each drafter as well. And when you're not on the clock, you can relax with one of Twin Peaks' refreshing 29-degree beers or order for the whole team with a Peak sampler full of fan favorites or indulge in shareables like the double-stack nachos, loaded fries, and multiple flavors of boneless wings as well. Call Twin Peaks in Cool Springs to book your fantasy football draft party at 615-221-0869. Once again, that's 615-221-0869. 69. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, this is Matt Duchene, and this is Smashville.
Running down the left side with Duchene. Duchene scores! Matt Duchene with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Great news, hockey players. Perani's Hockey World's annual summer clearance sale is back. Swing by one of their 3 Nashville locations for big savings on your favorite brands. August 4th through 14th at your local Perani's Hockey World.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, ovals, pear shapes.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, we also offer free towing with any major repairs. If your vehicle has a breakdown and you should need any type towing, towing is available through Dad's Towing Service. Dad's is a professional towing company in Nashville that provides all types towing and recovery, 24 hours a day.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
When you download the Home Depot app, taking on big or small projects starts with a tap. It's your pocket-sized toolbox for getting more done. Image search helps you find what you need with a snap. Store mode pinpoints exactly where to go to get what you want while you're at our store. Or just tap to arrange for easy curbside pickup, all from the palm of your hand. It's the app that's made for doing. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
In the wee hours of the night, when everyone else is fast asleep, you're the one on third shift, burning the midnight oil. When a part fails and everything comes to a grinding halt, regardless of what the clock on the wall says, you leap into action. Grainger is with you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support by phone or click to chat. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN. Welcome into Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Somebody company is delivered. There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have 2 choices to hear our great sports programming. Get the extra point, no problem. And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning. I got some tickets to give away to see 3 Ice, North America's premier 3-on-3 ice hockey league, which will be at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Saturday, this Saturday. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to 3 Ice coming up this Saturday at Bridgestone Arena. So a little hockey in the summertime. Looking forward to that coming up this Saturday. So, Joe, I threw this question out there, and I'm interested to see what listeners say about this and where they go with it. How would you define a successful season for the Titans this year? What does success for the Titans look like this year? Matt on the text line says Super Bowl or bust. So more than likely a bust this year for the Titans. I am interested to hear what people say. Adam in Portland says you beat Philly on December 4th. Hold always, jabbering Brown to – I get what he did there. Always jabbering, A.J. Brown. To 24 yards on 2 catches. Win playoff games too, but for the regular season, and that one is circled. So Adam paying very close attention to the Philadelphia game coming up. I mean, always jabbering Brown. I kind of like that.
I got to say, man, I continue to be just blown away by how A.J. Brown is public enemy number one.
I kind of like that.
I mean, he's definitely the Twitter activity is a little bit but all of a sudden he was an absolute cancer in the locker room.
I do wish he would stop tweeting. My God, man. Move on.
Well, tweeting and deleting. Is that tweet still up?
I think it's still up.
Okay. That's progress.
I think it's still up.
That's progress. Hey, he's mad. That tweet, I have no problem with that last tweet. Now, some of his other tweets that are cryptic and weird and petty and the fan and the camp, all that stuff, nah. This was just him pissed at John Robinson. I'm fine with that.
Okay, but he
Say
got
what
paid.
you think. Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, like, at least I can follow along with the tweet and, like, okay, he's mad.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? He got paid. He was going to get paid here. He was going to get paid. He was going to get paid. So he wanted to be here. I mean, he needs to move on. I get it. I agree with people that he needs to move on. But it also shows you that he wanted to be here. Does it not?
I mean, maybe there's all this reporting out there that he wanted to play with Jalen Hurts. So, like, look, I think he liked it here. Do I think that he was, like, unwavering in his desire to be a Titan? No, I don't. Otherwise, he'd still be a Titan. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, that's interesting. It's just interesting that, a fan is like, that is the game. Circle that one to beat AJ. It's like, well,
yeah, like
he got traded by your team.
Yeah, I don't know how many Titans fans share that view, but I will, I can tell you, I mean, that's what we'll be talking about that week.
Oh, there's no doubt.
AJ Brown, can they shut him down? And there is I think a certain segment of the Titans fan base that he is now public enemy number one.
Yeah, and I think it's a little, I don't know, man. I don't see all the reasons for that, but hey, you do you, I guess.
David from Ashland City texting in says, winning a playoff game is a minimum. Successful team would be to at least go to the Super Bowl. David from Ashland City on the text line. So here's how I would answer this. I think winning the AFC South I would constitute as a successful season. And, winning a playoff game, I guess, but some of that, honestly, for me, depends on who the matchup is. Like, I think if they win the AFC South this year, they're not going to be the one seed. Like, I feel pretty strongly the Titans are not going to be the one seed this year.
But they'll have a home game.
So you'll have a home game. So what does that matchup look like? Is it a wild card team? Are you the 4 and you're taking on the 5? And it's Justin Herbert and the Chargers, who finished with a better record than you did, but are in the AFC West. Like, I don't know. Like, a lot of that to me is
you got to win that game.
It's matchup based to me, but I think winning the AFC South is a successful season, and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Like, there's so much that, and I think I've been guilty of this. I think a lot of people are guilty of it as well. I agree with you. Like, I think around the league, there's going to be a lot of people that pick the Titans to miss the playoffs. I think that's absolutely going to happen. I think here locally, most people expect the Titans to make the playoffs, and the question is, like, a lot of people are already fast-forwarding to January of, okay, what is Ryan Tannehill going to be able to do in the playoffs? And I get that. Like, I've kind of subscribed to that theory as well. But I think winning the AFC South is a successful season, and then we'll see what the matchup looks like in the playoffs. But I can't shake the Cincinnati game from this standpoint. It has affected the way I view my expectations for this team. Like, I feel like they missed their chance last year, and I don't consider the Titans to be a Super Bowl threat this year. I just don't. I think they have a good defense. We'll see, but there's a lot of questions to answer on offense. But I just think the AFC has gotten so much better that last year was their chance, and they blew it. And I just think some of these younger quarterbacks are about to take this conference by storm.
Yeah. Well, you may be right. Again, you don't have to beat them all, I
know.
You got to, whatever your path is.
Although you kind of do on the regular season
on the
schedule
way.
this year.
That's true. On the way there. Yeah. Tannehill's got to get them there first. Yeah. But Alex from Montreal says, how about a playoff game we don't lose by our mistakes? Yeah, but so if you play a really good team in the playoffs. Let's say it's the scenario you put out there. Justin Herbert comes in here and he's just incredible. It's a great game. You lose a close game, and you played a clean game. You feeling good about that?
No, you're not, because the talking point, regardless of how Tannehill plays in that game, is going to be the same. Well, let's say he's good in that game. He's not great, but he's good. He doesn't turn the ball over, and they just get out-dueled by a Herbert or a Burrow or somebody of that ilk. Then the conversation is going to go right back to, okay, well, he's okay. He's good, but he's not good enough to beat guys like that. And what do you do about that if you're the Titans? Like, the conversation to me, how we're going to end up viewing this team, is so much going to come down to that at the end of the year. So that's part of why I threw this question out there, because successful to me to this team is a really difficult thing to define, because so much of it boils down to him and the quarterback position and what that future looks like.
Yeah, it's like how you lose or win, but even if you ultimately lose, how do you lose? Like, if you have a season that, let's say you lose that close game, but he's great. He throws for 320 and 3 touchdowns, but Justin Herbert does just one-ups him and has a game-winning drive at the end. And, your defense gets shredded by a great quarterback. And that's a capper of actually a really big bounce-back season for Tannehill. He demonstrates that he can perform in that situation, just doesn't win. He's off the field. He's on the sideline watching at the end. It's not on him.
Yeah.
Is there more success in that because now you at least feel like you're happier to have him as your quarterback in 2023?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, part of this is also it's this window, and that's what makes the offseason kind of confusing. And we got a texter that brought this up. Says, I think the A.J. Brown trade is proof that Robinson has come to the realization that he can't win a Super Bowl with Tannehill. It signals a move to focusing on the next phase. The trade makes little sense if you think you have a shot. I don't know if I totally buy that whole text of like Robinson has just abandoned hope of winning a Super Bowl with Tannehill. But we do talk about the window with Derrick Henry. You've got the defense, I think, on paper built up to a point where it should be a strength of your team. Like, Derrick Henry's not getting any younger. I mean, some people think he's already about to fall off the table this year. Regardless, it's coming at some point for Derrick Henry where he's not going to be the same running back. Like, the window that we discussed yesterday, like, there's still a lot of reason, I think, if you're John Robinson, to believe that you're still in it right now.
Yeah, I disagree with that text in terms of this. It's a absolute demonstration that Robinson's like, okay, think of the future. I mean, you have to, as a GM, you have to always keep both things in mind. What's this year's team look like, and then, down the road what it means. But he went out and he signed. They went out and they got Robert Woods. They went out and signed Austin Hooper. They brought in a replacement in the draft for A.J. Brown. You're built around Derrick Henry. I mean, you're not thinking of the future. Plus, you have a defense that right now is absolutely a win now, primed and ready to rock defense. So I think it's more. I think the trade is more that he just thought it wasn't going to be workable with A.J. Brown. Again, you can disagree or agree with him on that, but I think it's more that than it's like, okay, we're moving on to the next phase. Let's just think down the road. I mean, I don't think they're treading water this year. I think they think they can win this year, and they're good enough, I think, certainly to win. It's just a question of your point on the Super Bowl.
We'll continue the conversation. More of your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. What would you define as a successful season for the Titans this year? 615-737-1025. We're in the final countdown to the fall sports season, and before everyone hunkers down in their man caves, we're providing the ultimate date night opportunity, a pair of tickets to see Michael Bublé at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Tuesday, August 16th. Tune in to 102.5, 106.3 The Game all week next week for your chance to win, presented by Blend Bar. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Apple Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center,
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobe. It's hot, humid, and stormy for today. High temperatures in the middle 90s. Factoring in the humidity, we'll feel close to 100 in the middle of the afternoon. Scattered showers and storms throughout the day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
I'm Joe Namath, here to tell you about another number 12. USA Hemp Store's original number 12. USA Hemp Store cream is hypoallergenic and uses an easy-to-apply blend of ingredients designed to go on gently. And with no odor, no one knows you've got it on, except you, of course.
The original number 12 CBD creams, grown in the USA, THC-free, lab-tested, and a portion of every sale supports Homes for Veterans Incorporated.
USA Hemp Store's original number 12 works like it does for me.
With this special Joe Namath offer, get the original number 12 just $34.95. Free shipping on every order. Distributorships available. Call to learn more. 844-305-1212. 844-305-1212. Or visit usahempstore.com. usahempstore.com. THC-free is below the level of detection using validated scientific methods. Alexa Labs June 2022 certification analysis. USA Hemp Store is not making any guarantees about the results of taking any action, whether recommended in this advertisement or not. USA Hemp Store is not making any guarantees nor any endorsements concerning any of its products. Paid endorsement.
This September, the Chainsmokers hit Music City at the Blended Wine and Music Festival. 24 bands, 2 stages, 1 weekend, all under the Nashville skyline. Performances by the Chainsmokers, Loud Luxury, Sick Kick, Fetty Wap, Breland, and more. September 10th and 11th, the ultimate social experience drops in Music City. Enjoy a massive 100-foot wine tent, culinary village, and wellness lounge. Get tickets now at blendedfestival.com.
Welcome to Allstate, where driving safe saves you more. And it should. With DriveWise in the Allstate app and your safe driving skills, you can save 40%. Add it to your policy for personalized driving feedback and save. Lower your rates, match your expectations with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll have Stephen Holder from ESPN coming up at 9 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on all things NFL. We'll focus in on the Indianapolis Colts as well. How'd the Colts look so far at training camp? Matt Ryan apparently doing everything but walking on water out there in Indianapolis. So
the new GOAT.
Good stuff up there. Looking forward to that with Stephen a little bit later in the show. Right now, throwing the question out there, how would you define what a successful season looks like for the Tennessee Titans? Got a lot to get to on the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jordan on our text line, which I believe is our resident Colts fan. I'll give the Titans a chance at the division if the Colts have a poor start to the season, but we should not have an issue with that this year. Lots of division games the first 8 games. Love how the Jordan's like, yeah, I'll give the Titans a slight chance. They won the division the last 2 years, but I'll give them a little bit of a chance.
A slim
if
chance.
If the Colts start off poorly, I suppose. I mean, that is the intriguing part of this is, and I hate that the NFL's done this, but you are playing the Colts twice, before November comes.
Yeah.
Which I think is really stupid.
I wish they'd get over that.
I wish they'd get over that too. But, I mean, you win those 2 games, you're sitting pretty if you're the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to recognize when this. I know that there's all kinds of factors that go into scheduling. It's very difficult, a lot of moving parts. But you'd think that there'd be. You look around other divisions. It's clear that they try to have division matchups late in the year, and that happens every year. But it's always like the Texans or Jaguars. It seems like for the Titans. I mean, look at the current state of things. The Titans and Colts should be playing December football games. They did, of course, play in the finale back in Vrabel's first season in 2018. It turned out to be a win-and-in game.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that those two are so early.
David from Ashland City texting in says, let me get to David's whole text here. So we win the AFC South, we play a team at home, you pick them, and we lose, and you call that a successful season? The fans will certainly not call it a successful season. Losing a playoff game at home will definitely be considered a failure. I mean, I definitely hear that. I buy it to a certain degree. I get the point that I brought up was, what if you win your division, you're at home, and the team that you're playing in the first round is better than you are, which I think is a real possibility if the Titans win the division this year. Like, what if one of these AFC West teams, somebody's going to have to be the wild card in the AFC West. Probably multiple teams are going to have to be a wild card in the AFC West.
And or North.
Yeah, and or North. Like, what if one of those teams is better than you are and you're playing them at home? Like, I know it's at home, but are you – like, is that a failure if you lose to a team that's better than you are? I don't know.
Yes, fail. Well, someone on the text line, and I've heard this, I don't agree with it, but basically, like, the successful season is winning the division. Playoffs should be considered separately. I don't look at it that way. You got to – it's all the season.
I think with some teams that's the case. Not with this one. Like, playoffs are a part of it.
Yeah. Look, credit to a lot of people, in particular Rob, with the fact that the Titans are, like, making the playoffs is now just old hat, and it's just a presumed it may not be assumed outside Nashville, but it's assumed here, and it keeps happening. But that's what happens. You raise expectations when you have success over a certain period of time. They've been in the playoffs 3 straight years.
Yeah, if they make the playoffs this year, it'll be 5 out of 6.
Yeah. So, and they've had some success, but if you go a 3rd straight year with a goose egg in the playoffs, to me that's hard to apply the S word. And by that I mean success.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I don't mean
other things.
S show. It would not be that if they win the division. But I feel like you got to win a playoff game. And you're right. They may be playing a objectively better team than them that's just got caught in a crazy division and is coming in here. But
now there's also the chance that the Titans, maybe they don't win the division, they make the playoffs, and they go on a little bit of a run. I mean, we saw them do that a couple years ago. That's a success. So, maybe winning the division to me is not the smartest thing that I've said, but I expect them to win the division. I still believe, and I think I'm certainly league-wide, probably in the minority. I don't know if I'm in the minority around here or not, but I think they're better than the Colts. I just do. I think they're a better team than the Colts are. And until I see that proven otherwise, that's my thoughts on it. So the AFC South is part of that discussion for me. And honestly, Joe, and we talk about this every year with divisions on paper, and it rarely plays out the way you think it will. But there may only be one team in the AFC South that makes the playoffs this year. Like, you may have to win the division to get in the playoffs. I don't know how it's going to shake out. Somebody's going to get hurt somewhere along the line that totally derails one of these team seasons. Like, it happens every year. But the AFC West, AFC North, they got a chance to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, AFC
East.
I am intrigued by the Dolphins. I certainly can't sit here and just count out the Patriots. I mean, everybody's going to pick the Bills to win that division going away, and they should. But those two teams could be interesting. I mean, it's insane to me, like, how much better the AFC is. I did see these Sporting News power rankings that I mentioned. I think they did have, like, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Rams, like 3, 4, 5 or something like that. So that's high. And maybe, those 3 teams can compete with, like anybody in the top of the AFC. But then it's just so much more depth. Go through the AFC, go team after team after team. If you believe the Ravens are going to have a big turnaround, which I do, why are the Bengals going to fall off? Are the Browns not really dangerous now? I mean, I think they are, like it or not. Sexual predator at quarterback. They're going to win a lot of football games, I think. And then, the West, who knows? I don't know what the Broncos are going to be. They're one of those teams that I don't know what to expect, but it certainly could go well for them. They've had a pretty solid team other than quarterback. What if Russell Wilson is totally rejuvenated and it's a good defensive team? They got some good receivers.
He doesn't even have to be totally rejuvenated. Like, if he's what he's been the last couple of years, that's a clear upgrade of what they've had at that place.
Yeah. But is that good enough? Like, to me, just because of this conference and that division, like, he's got to be awfully good.
Agreed.
Maybe the Chargers are going to be paper tigers again. I don't know, but they have a good roster. On paper, like they have a good roster. Yeah, this makes sense for this to be the year where they actually start to realize the potential. It's a loaded conference. So, I think the Titans are like a 10-7 kind of team. 10-7, 11-6, both sound stupid because in your mind it's a 10-6. You know what that is. What is 10-7? Yeah, but that's about what they are, and maybe you have to win the division to get in.
Well, it's going to be really interesting, and again, so much we can talk about success and how to define that right now, but so much of it really just comes down to one guy, and that's Tannehill. And we knew that from the moment the game ended last year against Cincinnati. That's what it was going to be. If they don't make the playoffs, and he's part of the reason that they struggle to not make the playoffs, then we're having a discussion about the quarterback position and where to go from here at the end of next year. We could still be having that discussion if it's one and done in the playoffs again. But I mean, look, I'll throw this out to you. Let's say it plays out the way that you would define a successful season. They make the playoffs, win in the division or otherwise, and they win a playoff game, and they're out in the divisional round. Like, do you think the discussion around Tannehill is going to be all that different? I don't know.
It just depends on how he plays.
I'm legitimately asking. Like, I don't know.
If he has a similar regular season of last year, which was a step down from what he did in his previous two seasons, and if he doesn't play that well in the playoffs, then I think it'll be the same. But if he plays well all year, plays well in a win, and then they lose, and he's not completely responsible for the loss, he doesn't have a Bengals performance in the loss, I think I think the Titans will look at him as, he's the quarterback in 23, and I would think a lot of fans would come around. It's the same thing. Like, you don't have one of those top guys. But again, okay, so who are you getting? Because if you're just going to say, move on, or all right, let's try Malik Willis next year or whatever, your chances of going backward at the position are way, way beyond your chances of improving. So everybody wants the Hall of Fame quarterback, but how are you going about getting the Hall of Fame quarterback? Who would be, like, after next year, what would be possible there?
Well, Brady's going to be a free agent after next year.
Okay. Well, if you can do that, if you can keep him from going to Miami and being player, owner, coach, whatever the heck he's going to be, then go for it. That's the thing, like Brady, the whole Brady thing. Yeah, there's Brady.
I mean, I'm
at some point
75% joking, but I mean,
at some point it's like it's gonna be like Thanos. Like, he's just gonna turn to dust. He's gonna drop back and just and just completely just disappear. But who else is there? Like, because the Aaron Rodgers thing was hot this year, and the Titans reportedly looked into it, as they should have.
Sure,
you got to look into these things.
Yeah, I don't know who's out there.
you have way better chance of going backward. Again, if Tannehill has a good year, if he's going to go the wrong way with his performance, then it's an easy decision. You have to try something else.
Yeah, no question about it. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll be joined by Stephen Holder from ESPN coming up next. We'll get his thoughts on the Deshaun Watson situation and zero in on the Colts as well. How are they looking so far in training camp? All that ahead. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game. We talk the game.
You can't just pick up one guy and be competitive in the playoffs.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, football fans.
Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
We're Saia LTL Freight. For nearly a century, our team has been committed to driving business forward. From Lady Liberty to the Golden Gate, Superstore to Corner Store. We go that extra mile, expanding our team to better serve you. So trust that when you partner with Saia, we take every delivery personally. Visit Saia.com for all your shipping needs. That's SAIA.com.
It's a fact. Guys hate going to the doctor. But when it comes to erectile dysfunction and low testosterone issues, men from all over Middle Tennessee have been thrilled seeing Dr. Alderson and the providers at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Men all the way up to 95 years old have jump-started their sex drive and energy levels. Lots of men suffer with ED for years, but now they're able to enjoy sex again. Tom from Nashville said, "The Tennessee Men's Clinic has changed my life. I have been able to be intimate with my wife for the first time in 5 years. She thought this problem was because of her, but the pills never worked for me. I had given up until I went to the clinic and realized there were more options for erectile dysfunction. Now I'm happy and my wife is happy. A visit for only $99, and that includes all testing, including a PSA and testosterone test. Give the guys at the clinic a call at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090. Or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 1025 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Welcome back in. Final hour of Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Stephen Holder, now with ESPN. Stephen, what's going on? How we doing?
Hey, how are you guys?
We're great. Good. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. So, Stephen, I want to start on the Deshaun Watson front. 6-game suspension, obviously announced yesterday. Number one, what did you think of that total? Was that about where you thought it would be? What did you make of the reaction to that? And do you think that the NFL decides to pursue this any further from here? I believe they have until Thursday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern time to decide whether or not they want to do so.
Yeah, so for me, I think my expectation was I didn't really have an expectation because it was just really difficult to project what this singular person might decide and how that.
I think we lost Stephen. He got very loud.
I hope he's okay. That sounded like yeah.
We'll get Stephen.
Let's just hope he's okay.
We'll hope Stephen's okay. We'll get Stephen back on the phone here shortly.
On the Watson thing, I was going to ask Stephen, Nancy Armour had a good comment in USA Today about like the fact that the NFL talked to 4 women. To me, is bizarre.
Yeah, it's really weird. But we'll get Steven's thoughts on that now. Let's go back to our phone line. Steven, sorry, we lost connection with you there. Just, again, your thoughts on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I never lose connection when, like, telemarketers call me.
That's right. That's right.
It only happens, like, on really important phone calls, It's
I'm
weird
honored that you think that we're even remotely
me,
important.
Right. When someone calls me trying to buy my house that's not for sale, anyway.
Like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah.
Exactly. So, anyway, Deshaun Watson, I think this, when you have an arbitrator and when it's a singular person dealing with this, it's really hard to have any real expectation because it's just that one person, right? I think that what my reaction was, though, is that if you read the report from the arbitrator, I think what she outlines there is kind of interesting because it kind of agrees with the assessment of the NFL and how the NFL viewed this whole thing. And yet her penalty in terms of the suspension couldn't be further from what the NFL asked for. So he clearly violated the personal conduct policy, clearly was, saw the violations in the same light as the NFL and Roger Goodell and company, but yet the penalty was so out of line with what they were asking for. So that's the part for me that was a little confusing. I think for the NFL's, in terms of how to move forward for the NFL, I think for them, what they have to decide is, look, they're getting beat up here either way, okay? Right now, the public opinion, even though it's not necessarily fair because this wasn't a Roger Goodell decision, and I'm not one to defend Roger Goodell, but this isn't his decision, but they're getting beat up because from the outside looking in, people are saying, here's the NFL going soft on domestic violence or sort of sexual violence and things of that nature. On the one hand. On the other hand, are they going to maybe lessen some of that criticism if Roger Goodell does intervene here? I think you could make the argument that he does. And I don't mean to make this all about public perception and about politics and optics and those things, but let's be honest. It always is with the NFL, right? So let's not pretend that the optics are not a big part of the equation here. They are. So I just think if that's a big part of the decision for the league, then I think Roger Goodell probably does intervene here.
Yeah, well, I thought Nancy Armour brought up a good point in her column USA Today, Stephen. I think the NFL talked to 4 women in putting this together. Like, why not talk to everyone? And she wondered aloud, does the NFL ultimately have hesitation just because, like it or not, Deshaun Watson is going to be one of the faces of the league in the next few years?
It's kind of a delicate thing, isn't it? Because, I can envision a scenario where I'm not necessarily envisioning this for the Browns given their recent history, but let's just say they win a conference championship or some such, and, you have a post-game scenario where Deshaun Watson standing up there holding the trophy, let alone the Super Bowl, and Roger Goodell having to hand him a Lombardi trophy, right? What would that be like? And so they certainly are open up to – the Browns are all in here. Let's not pretend that he's not going to be a factor. The Browns have already committed. They have already made their statement and said their piece, and they've done it with their checkbook here. So I agree with you. I do think it does put the league in a delicate position because it is what it is at this point. They can't put the genie back in the bottle. All right, Deshaun Watson is going to be the face of the Cleveland Browns, like it or not. So at the end of the day, they're a very big part of the NFL. They're one of 32 teams, and the NFL has to acknowledge that. So I don't know. There's no good outcome, really, I think, for the NFL.
Stephen Holder on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Stephen, what have been your impressions of Matt Ryan thus far, both on the field, what he's brought to the Colts, and off the field as well? What have you noticed from Matt Ryan during his short time in Indy thus far?
I have really enjoyed getting to learn about Matt Ryan, because I've been covering the AFC for most of the last 9 or 10 years, and, you don't see the NFC players necessarily as much. And so, especially in Atlanta in recent years, because, what's been going on there in recent years? Nothing. No one's talked about the Falcons the last 3 years. So, anyhow, it's been a little bit of an education for me. From afar, I thought Matt Ryan was this nice guy who just kind of said all these nice platitudes and had some talent. And what I've learned is, and this is my story today on ESPN.com, what I've learned is that, no, this guy is cutthroat and that he is much more like Peyton Manning than I ever thought. And what I mean by that is he is uncompromising. Okay, this guy, he doesn't give anybody a break. He's in your face, and I'm talking about his teammates. And even with the coaching staff, with Frank Reich and his staff, he has definitely pushed the envelope to say, hey, here's how I want to do things, and this is really important to me. And they have complied with a lot of it, to a certain extent. So because they trust him. So I just think there's really been a top-to-bottom influence from Matt Ryan already, even a week into training camp, much more so than I ever anticipated.
What are your impressions of the guys catching passes from him so far, Stephen?
I think that's the biggest question, and it's an unanswered question for right now. They're off to a good start. I think Michael Pittman is perhaps the most underrated player on the Colts roster, and I think he is unquestionably their number one receiver. I think he's going to be the real deal. Now, behind him, that's where you have questions. You have the second-round pick, Alec Pierce. They're really excited about him. I understand why. I see it. He's impressive as an athlete. He's impressive in terms of the consistency of his hands so far. But we have to see more. And I think he's got to do it. Today the pads go on, right? He's got to do that with press coverage and with a long, 6'2", skillful quarterback all over him, right? Can he do that? Those are the questions we have to see, or we have to get answers to. But I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited and optimistic. The tight ends, that I have questions about, but they have certainly acquired a lot of talent at that position. It's just very, very young and unproven. But I think they have talent, and we just have to see more. It's really going to be a proving ground for all the pass catchers. The best thing they have going for them, okay, the best thing they have going for them is Matt Ryan. I think that can take you a long way. An accurate quarterback who's demanding, who's going to basically pull you up to his level. They don't have a choice. They have to get on his level, and I think that's the way it should be.
So, Stephen, with all that in mind, how do you view where the Colts, and I'll throw the Titans in there too, where those two teams in the AFC South fit into an AFC landscape, which we've talked to you about before, has changed so much this offseason and has improved, on paper at least, so dramatically? How do you think the Colts and the Titans fit into that picture?
I think they still have a lot to prove. I think all these teams in the AFC, for the most part, I think Buffalo and Kansas City, they have made their statements, right? We know what they are. But even a team like Denver, a team like the Chargers, for example, right? They look good on paper. We still have to see it all come together. They have a lot of talent, but they have to put it all together. I would say the Colts and Titans are a little bit in that sort of tier, if you will. I think on paper they look very good, and there's a lot of reasons to like them, but you can't just rubber stamp it. And I think the Titans have been there, certainly more recently than the Colts. The Titans have certainly advanced into the postseason much further. But this offseason did create some questions. A.J. Brown created some questions, and that departure, where is Ryan Tannehill? In terms of Derrick Henry, can he still be the guy that he was? I mean, there's just questions about both of those teams that you're talking about in the AFC South. I do think the Colts have gone in the other direction from the Titans this offseason. The Titans have to prove that they made progress this offseason. I think it's pretty clear the Colts have progressed. They're a better team. I'm not saying they're going to be in the AFC Championship, but I think on paper, I think they're a better team right now than they were last season. I think it's harder to say about the Titans just because there have been more questions created. So I'm very interested to see, how they address those questions when, the actual games get started.
Stephen Holder from ESPN, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Stephen, great stuff as always, man. Really appreciate you making time to be with us this morning.
Okay, guys, you take care.
Absolutely. You as well. Stephen Holder, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your reaction, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. More discussion on the Titans coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Their first ever tour together.
That was a crazy
OAR.
game of poker.
And Dispatch. Summer Tour 2022. This Saturday night at Ascend Amphitheater. Special guest, G-Love. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. OAR and Dispatch, part of the Journeys concert series.
Attention investors.
You know, in business, timing is everything, and today your timing is perfect. Credix Corporation is operating in many of the fastest growing and most profitable industries: real estate, retail, e-commerce, the CBD market, and family golf entertainment, with more to come.
We're helping investors on Main Street, not just Wall Street.
Credix recently entered into an agreement to purchase USA Hemp Store. One of the affiliates of the USA Hemp Store is NFL Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Namath.
Credix is offering an investment opportunity into shares of common stock at $1.20 per share. Invest for a $20,000 minimum investment, although we have the option of accepting subscriptions in a lesser amount.
Become an investor in one of the most exciting public companies today.
Space is limited. Call now for your free investor information kit. 800-881-1528, 800-881-1528, or visit credixcorporation.com, CREDEX Corporation.com. An investment in Credix Corporation, the company, the information herein is not meant to replace or supplement the term sheet. For complete information and full disclaimers, visit credixcorporation.com/invest.
Hey, homeowners and home buyers, listen up. Loan Pronto has 30-year fixed rates with APRs in the 4s and 15-year loans with APRs that start with 3. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Don't be confused by the media's hype about interest rates. At Loan Pronto, their rates have plummeted recently, and they're currently refinancing homeowners who locked in a 5 or 6% rate. So if you've got a rate over 5%, or if your lender has you pre-approved or locked in at anything 5% or higher, you need to call Loan Pronto now. Not all lender rates are created equal. Loan Pronto's rates are down big time, and you need to take advantage. Whether you are buying, refinancing, getting cash out, or even if you just closed a few weeks ago. Call Loan Pronto today, and you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Loan Pronto can help keep more money in your pocket. Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
What can $20 get you today? It can get you a lot of things, but it can also buy a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a homeless child in Middle Tennessee. Yep, just $20, and we're on a mission to help the thousands of homeless children start the school year with a new pair of shoes. Will you join us in that effort? Just text DONATE to 615-737-1025. Once again, that's DONATE to 615-737-1025. And throw in $20. You can throw in more if you'd like, but 20 is what we're asking for to make a huge difference in the life of a child. Text DONATE to 615-737-1025 right now, and let's make that first day of school even more special for these kids. Thank you so much for your support. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Joe Rexrode is on his way to Titans training camp right now. Day 2 of the pads today for the Titans in training camp. Joe had Stephen Holder on in the last segment. What do you make of kind of his assessment on the Titans and the Colts and exactly where they fit in the AFC right now?
Well, I agree with him. I can see some Titans fans taking issue with what he said about comparing the off seasons of the Titans and Colts. But look, especially from the Colts perspective, A.J. Brown was a guy who tormented them. You know, A.J. Brown had multiple games against the Colts. Now, of course, he also dropped a TD pass in one of those games that the Titans lost, but he was just a guy who they just struggled with. And so from that perspective, you know, whether you are a Colts fan, the Colts, someone who covers the Colts, you take away A.J. Brown from the other team, and you're naturally going to think, okay, so how did they get better this offseason? Now, look, I do think the Titans have made some adds that can potentially make them better. We've talked about how I think the variety of weapons around Tannehill could be better. Certainly the tight end room, it'll be better, be a lot better. But the idea of it looks like the Colts improved more than the Titans did on paper because the Titans are about to be leaning on a rookie to replace their best receiver.
Well, and to that point, we brought this up earlier in the show. Treylon Burks has been lighting it up so far in camp. He had another couple touchdowns yesterday, and, you know, it's a week at this point, over a week, where he has been a factor out there on a consistent basis. So in your mind, I don't want to overreact. It's training camp. You know how I feel about training camp practices and practices as a whole. But when you start to stack days, I start to pay attention to it a little bit more. What does Treylon Burks and what he's been able to do thus far into training camp, and as impressive as he's been, what does that actually mean to you in terms of trying to project what he's going to be to begin the season for the Titans?
Well, it certainly means something. I have to put a decent amount of stock in. It's basically the best case scenario at this point. And it's more surprising. I think Glennon put it well earlier. It's probably more striking because of how worst case scenario just about the spring was for Treylon Burks. So the contrast maybe makes it more dramatic than it is. But the bottom line is the guy he's just a different level of size, speed. The wonderful football term I love very much, catch radius. He has a ridiculous catch radius. You know, Tannehill used that term recently.
Beautiful.
Yes, and look, he catches everything. His hands are great. There's some things you couldn't even figure out in the spring because he wasn't doing anything. He catches everything. He can go up and point the ball. I think that the end fade with him might be as, you know, viable for the Titans as a red zone option, you know, as they've had in a while. They didn't really do that a ton with Corey Davis. He would have been, you know, he was kind of that guy, but Burks just seems to be a guy who, you know, when he's jostling with a cornerback, he's probably going to win. He might get called for OPI sometimes, but he's really strong. He is, as they may say, country strong.
That's right.
And he is a hog hunter. So, no, it's been very encouraging, and he's getting all that extra time. And as long as there's nothing else that gets in the way of him participating every day and doing this stuff, he keeps, to me, trending toward – I mean, I think it will mean something. I think it will mean that the season starts and you could really see, you know, a three-man rotation, not just Westbrook, Akina, and Woods, but that Burks could be right in there with them, and that should just help them a lot to be able to have him. And I think it'll still be like A.J. Brown. It'll probably be like the nuances, and, you know, there's going to be ups and downs as a rookie, but he might just be a key guy from the start. And I would not have guessed that at all going into camp.
Well, and Tannehill put this out there yesterday. I mean, the offense did not play as well as he hoped yesterday in the first day of pads. I think the quote was, it wasn't clean enough from the offense yesterday. But one thing that I think is really important, and again, we're only a week in, so we'll see if this can continue to be the case. But so far, Joe, I mean, you've had Treylon Burks out there every day. Robert Woods has been out there. Nick Westbrook-Akina's been out there. Austin Hooper's been out there. Chigakonko's been out there. Like the guys that Tannehill is going to be throwing the ball to once the season begins, they've been out there. They've been on the field. They've been developing some of that chemistry. And is that everything? No. But it is important, and he didn't get a whole lot of that last year in training camp with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. And it was way less of a big deal with A.J. Brown because there was an established familiarity and relationship there anyway. But there wasn't a whole lot of time with Julio Jones out there on the field last year. And look, that was kind of a precursor to the season from Julio anyway. But I do think it's important from just the standpoint of them all being out there and available from a timing standpoint, from a trust standpoint. The fact that Burks and Woods and Hooper and all these different guys have been out there and available thus far at the skill positions, I think is a big deal. And if you can continue to stack days and weeks on that regard, and that's how, to me, you build some pretty meaningful rapport together in a training camp session.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the receiving core, like the tight ends, thought they'd be better. I'm probably a little bit surprised by how good Chigakonko has looked. But that's another one of those, it is practice. Let's see within the framework of a game plan and inline blocking. That's what we're really going to find out about him here in the short term. But the receiving core, overall, you start with Burks, of course. But, I mean, even like Des Fitzpatrick, Racing McMath, both better, without question. Look, Cody Hollister and Mason Kinsey, like those guys are out there pushing to earn jobs. Kyle Phillips, he has not had the ball a lot, but the feet are as advertised. So actually, it's like the receiving core, like going in, we talked about, wow, remember last year they had all these guys, and it was wow, now it's like, who do they have? Well, it doesn't look that way to me anymore, and that's competition too, and it's going to be really intriguing at the bottom of the group. But the bigger question is still, in the season, do you have enough guys on Sunday you feel really good about with Tannehill, and that looks better too, without question. Like I said, much as the offensive line is really something that's going to be sorted out here. We're going to see if there's competition. We're going to see if those guys, those new guys especially, can block the excellent defensive players the Titans. You know, this is also, is Chigakonko a guy who you can put in any situation and not be tipping your hand? You know, he's got to be able to block well enough for that to be the case, and so pads will be big for him.
Let's quickly go to the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Got a texter that says, can Treylon Burks be our Calvin Johnson? What say you, Joe Rexrode? No pressure.
Whoa, pump those brakes. Pump those brakes. You know, Calvin Johnson is, you know, like other great players who have had the misfortune of playing with the Detroit Lions. I think it's really underrated. Like, that guy was
He's one of the greatest receivers of all time.
Without question. I mean, outrageously big, fast, and dominant. So I'm not seeing Calvin Johnson and Treylon Burks. I will say the big thing that I thought would be downgrade from A.J. Brown to Treylon Burks, which is the quickness of the feet. I will say that I've been impressed with from Treylon. I'm not saying he's A.J. Brown. He's going to be the next A.J. Brown stuff, but that was the one thing I thought. See, there's where there's going to be a big difference. It's not as big as I thought, just based on the naked eye. Like, he's been good in just anything you want to look at. You would assume he'd be a good blocker, and you know how important that is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but you would assume that he would be effective in this offense, and you got to be able to do that. Robert Woods, one of the highest-ranked blockers in the NFL last couple of years. So, hey, man, those Derrick Henry 30-yarders that turn into 60-yarders, you know why they do.
Great blocking. Has to take place. No question about it. Joe, have fun at training camp. We'll catch up with you here in just a few minutes.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll continue the discussion on the Titans. Michelle Knezovic and I will take over coming up next. Got more of your thoughts to get to on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. This week's Nashville's Best Deal is from River Queen Voyages. River Queen Voyages gives you the best views of the city with skyline kayaking, river scavenger hunts, and a party pontoon with your own captain. Get half off a $50 gift card at theGameNashville.com/deals while supplies last. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
It's training time for the Two-Tone Blue, and we have you covered. Talking Titans? Join us live from training camp for interviews and reports, giving you the latest on the Titans.
There's a lot of guys that are making an impact on me, both good and bad.
I like some of the depth. I think that's the key right now.
Training camp coverage is fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
For the first time in history, the FedEx St. Jude Championship will kick off the FedEx Cup playoffs this August. Bring the whole family out to TPC Southwind August 10th through 14th to watch the PGA Tour's best try to make it through Memphis. Enjoy a variety of family-friendly activities throughout the course, food from local restaurant favorites, and more. Daily grounds and upgraded tickets are available now at FedExChampionship.com.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. It's back to school season, and Hiller is giving you free backyard upgrades all month long. Tackle those necessary home replacements in August to take advantage of these special deals, like a free Yeti Tundra cooler with the purchase of a new tankless water heater, a free Traeger wood pellet grill with the purchase of a new whole home generator, and also Hiller's going to keep you cool for back to school with special limited time financing promotions on these HVAC replacements. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Happy you'll be, or the service is free.
The Nashville Sheriff is hiring correctional officers. Earn $52,500 after paid training and probation. Positions are available immediately. You must be 21 and over with a high school diploma or GED. Come join our family. That's $52,500 with great benefits. Apply now at sheriff.nashville.gov/apply or call 615-862-8170. Earn $52,500. Stop searching. Apply now. The Nashville Sheriff.
The train is right on time. Here comes the American Band, Grand Funk Railroad. This Friday night at Skirmerhorn Symphony Center. Featuring Don Brewer, Mel Shocker, Bruce Kulick, Max Carl, and Tim Cashin. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSymphony.org. Grand Funk Railroad, live.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
O'Reilly. Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. Beat the heat before you hit the road with AC Pro at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN.
Welcome into Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Somebody company is delivered.
There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming. Get the extra point, no problem. And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey, Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 5:35 on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds are on the road facing the Norfolk Tides, the AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Michelle Knezovic here with you. Joe Rexrode en route to Titans training camp. We'll catch up with him again here in just a few minutes live from St. Thomas Sports Park. So, Michelle, we brought this up earlier, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on it as well. We've talked so much this offseason about Ryan Tannehill and the moves the Titans have made. Where do they fit in the AFC picture? And we threw out the question earlier, and there's been a ton of different responses to it. How would you define a success for this Titans team? So, Michelle Knezovic, I ask you, how would you define a success for this Titans team heading into the 2022 season?
Well, I feel like you have to look at it. You kind of have to take a step back and not even think about last season, right? Because you can't have that affect this season because, it's over. You didn't go to the Super Bowl, so just scratch that out, right? Okay. Going into last season, you had no idea that you were going to be the 1 seed, and throughout the season you thought, no, you're not going to win this game, you're not going to win this game, and they prevailed and all of that. So when you take a look at this year and you take a look at what you lost, right? You lost A.J. Brown, but I think through the first couple weeks of training camp, you've realized that, you actually have more offensive weapons for Ryan Tannehill. Maybe nobody at the caliber of A.J. Brown, but you kind of have quantity over quality, I guess you could put it. So that I think is pretty promising. Your defense, I would say, got better, right? You have everybody that pass rush returning, Bud Dupree another year under his belt, Jeffrey Simmons really emerging. I think that the team success would be winning your division and at least one playoff game. Obviously, if you get the 1 seed, that's very successful, but I wouldn't count on that because it's going
to be hard to do.
It's a hard thing to do, especially with, the Bills look really promising, but I would say you need to win that playoff game. And I had this conversation with Junie on our podcast, actually, and I said one playoff game, but, Ryan Tannehill has to perform in that playoff game.
For sure.
Because I think that even if you win one playoff game and he throws one interception, people will be fuming.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to play well, like, and beyond just playing well, like he's got to take care of the football, and he's got to make important throws in important moments. And I think as I look through the playoff history, I think you can scope out ever since he's been here in 2019. He's made a lot of big time throws. Like he's made a lot of big plays, especially in the regular season in big moments. In the playoffs, one thing that we probably don't talk about enough, the last 3 playoff games that they've played in. So the 2019 AFC title game in Kansas City, the one they lost here in 2020, I guess that would be technically 2021, against Baltimore at home, and then last year against Cincinnati. Tannehill hasn't played as well as they've needed him to play in those games, but those 3 games have also been influenced by the fact that the other team has shut down Derrick Henry. Like they have done, as well as you can of slowing Derrick Henry down. They've done that. Baltimore never let him got going. Cincinnati never really let him got going last year, although it is a different situation with him coming off the broken foot. So I do understand that in last year's part of it. Kansas City in the AFC title game, he had absolutely destroyed New England and Baltimore in the 2 games before that, and Kansas City never let him got going. And Tannehill has not been able to rise up and perform in those moments when that's been the case. Like if teams have been able to shut down Derrick Henry, which is hard to do, but they've done it in the last 3 playoff games, if that happens again, Ryan Tannehill has to play well enough and has to make good enough decisions with the football to be able to overcome that. And I think it's a fair question if you're a Titans fan to ask, okay, well, that sounds great, but can he do it? Because we've not seen him do it to this point. So that's probably part of this that we haven't discussed a whole lot that we probably should more. Like the last 3 playoff games, Derrick Henry's been shut down, and that's obviously been the game plan. And my guess is if the Titans make the playoffs again this year, that'll be the game plan again for whoever their opponent is. So can Tannehill rise up in those moments if all the attention is on Derrick Henry and make big throws? Then that to me is what a lot of it's going to come down to.
And I agree with you, Robbie. We can look at it, right, and talk about it so many different times about, well, actually they shut down Derrick Henry, and that was a big factor in why the team didn't win. But unfortunately, the way a lot of people look at it is if Ryan Tannehill performs well or if he doesn't, that is going to be a big picture on whether it is a successful season. Even just the year I've been in Nashville. When I started last summer, I can remember that. I think it was a Mike Greenberg quote, and it's like, Ryan Tannehill is the most
underrated player in professional sports.
Yeah, so that is where I started. And in 1 year time, not even on the second tier of quarterbacks, right? You know what I mean? It is just drastically changed in 1 year. And a lot of it has to do with just that one Cincinnati game, because that's the conversation surrounding him, that everybody thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl. And you really just, you can't not capitalize off that opportunity. So I think that the success of this team, you can look at the defense, you can look at all these weapons on offense, but ultimately it's going to come down to how Ryan Tannehill performs.
Well, and Dennis brought this up earlier on our text line, and we've mentioned it a few times, but I do think it bears repeating. Like, one thing that I expect, kind of a regression to the mean this year, like, they were so hurt last year. I mean, we've talked about it so much. You know, they used 93 guys or whatever it was, NFL record. Like, that's not going to happen this year. Like, they're not going to be as hurt. Now, one thing that has been really good for them is ever since Tannehill's taken over as the starter, he's been healthy and he's been available, and that was not the case his last couple of years in Miami. So they've done a good job of keeping him healthy, and he's shown, I think, some really incredible toughness during that time period as well. But I would expect that the injuries, hopefully, if you're the Titans this year, not as big of a story. So what does that mean in their bottom line? Like, they were 12-5 last year. They were the number 1 seed. You know, with the schedule that they've got this year, it's hard for me to picture them going 12-5 again. I think the schedule's really tough, and especially with some of the quarterbacks that they have to play. But how much will being presumably healthier, I mean, we talked about that in the last segment with your targets in training camp. They're already off to a better start than they were last year because they're on the field and they're available for Ryan Tannehill to start to build that chemistry with. You know, we'll see on the offensive line, and that's you know, that stuff. But how much of a difference can being healthy make for this Tennessee team? And obviously, you have to have key guys healthy too. You can't have Derrick Henry going down again. Certainly can't have Tannehill going down. That's going to be a part of this discussion as well.
Well, and Teresa Walker, when we had her on last week, and she was on for an entire hour before training camp started, that was one of her big points, that what we saw last year was just completely outrageous, right? It seemed
really
like
was.
Every other week, right? Oh, another random guy, right? Oh, another running back, another this position, that position. And I don't think we really realized how, like, now we're out of it, right? We're out of the season. We can look at it that team, I mean, every week another player was added to.
That New England game last year, the number one, it was Nick Westbrook-Akina and Cody Hollister as the 2 wide receivers.
Like, what? And you have Julio Jones and A.J. Brown on your team.
Yeah.
And that's what you hope, right? In training camp, Robbie, I think you had a great point earlier today. And just, if we can see these tight ends, wide receivers consistently on the field, just looking at the offense for Ryan Tannehill, that's going to be huge. I mean, we barely even saw AJ or Julio in training camp last year.
Yeah, I know. And it's a much different story so far. Now you got to keep that up. Like, you can't all of a sudden this week have some injuries and that derails you that way. But so far they're off to a good start in that regard. Junie on the text line says, I see this season being a success if the Titans three-peat as AFC South champions and make the playoffs. Realistically, to me, the Titans got worse in this super conference. That should be a success. This is coming from Junie on the text line. I largely agree with that. I know that if the Titans fans as a whole, if they make the playoffs this year and they're one and done again, it's not going to go well.
They're going to be mad. And I think the Colts too, right? Talking to Stephen Holder, Junie brought up the Colts. He is not the first person that I've heard relate Matt Ryan to Peyton Manning's mentality, the way he approaches the game. And I mean, that is no small comparison.
It is not.
Right? So you hear that, and heck, if that is the comparison, I'm expecting this guy to be an absolute dog, which I don't really think. So I think it's going to come down also to, you got to beat the Colts at least once, right? And I mean, there might only be one playoff spot for AFC South.
Look, I could be wrong, and evidence on this show will tell you I'm wrong probably about 50% of the time.
But you are right a lot.
But I am right a lot too. like I could be totally wrong, but unless Matt Ryan is just a different guy than he's been the last couple of years, and maybe he is with a new supporting cast. Some of the hype coming out of Indy right now for Matt Ryan, I don't buy it.
Like he's not the next Peyton Manning, guys.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's been a great player throughout his career. He's 37 years old. I don't know, man. I'll believe it when I see it at that point. Some quick updates from Titans training camp. Ben Arthur of the Tennessean putting it out there. No sign of Bud Dupree at training camp today, and Elijah Molden as well. We'll see on the Dupree part. You're going to see some veterans as camp continues to go along here miss some days, so it doesn't necessarily mean that anything's really going on with Bud Dupree, but I'm sure Vrabel will be asked about that later. But this is yet another day with Elijah Molden. So the Molden thing starting to become a pretty big concern if you're the Titans out there. We'll catch up with Joe Rexrode live from Titans training camp coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Hot, humid, and stormy for today. High temperatures in the middle 90s. Factoring in the humidity, we'll feel close to 100 in the middle of the afternoon. Scattered showers and storms throughout the day.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Get ready for back to school at Electronic Express. Get an LG 55-inch 4K TV for $399 or a Hot Point washer and dryer pair for $849. Save up to 40% in every department at Electronic Express. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Don't miss out on a Lenovo 2-in-1 computer for $699 or an Elite Gourmet air fryer for just $49. Shop in-store or online with free financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
People who call QC Kinetics are pretty much fed up with joint pain.
It's to the point where it's affecting their quality of life. Maybe they can't pick up their grandchildren anymore, or golf, or play tennis, or walk with their friends.
Dr. Justin Garzone, medical director at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, and no surgery.
The great thing about our therapies, there isn't any downtime. There's no side effects, so patients can get our treatment and continue on with their day-to-day life.
And Dr. Garzone speaks from experience. He had excruciating back pain and got relief at a QC Kinetics clinic.
Over a very short period of time, the pain went away completely, and I've had absolutely no symptoms or pain since my treatment.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Genesis Diamonds is opening up the vault with our largest GIA Diamond event ever. Starting Saturday for a limited time, all our GIA Diamond engagement rings will be marked down 20%.
That's 20% below Genesis' already unbeatable price. This means you can buy like a dealer buys with deep discounts on over $10 million in stunning diamond rings.
These remarkable savings are on every GIA Diamond engagement ring, from a half carat to 20 carats. All shapes too. Rounds, princess cuts, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, ovals, pear shapes.
Remember, all Genesis diamonds are hand-picked, come straight from the diamond cutters, and are graded by the GIA, the most prestigious gem lab in the world.
At Genesis, our everyday prices are unbeatable. But for this event, we're taking value to a whole new level with an additional 20% savings.
Don't miss this chance to save like never before on that exquisite diamond ring. Buy like a dealer buys.
Starting Saturday for a limited time, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. Limit 1 per customer, please. Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Our Titans training camp coverage presented by USA Hemp Store and Parman Energy, your one-stop petroleum solution. We now go out to St. Thomas Sports Park live at Titans training camp and welcome Joe Rexrode back into the program. Joe, I want to start with a report that A to Z Sports just put out there that says, quote, sources tell A to Z Sports that Titans offensive lineman Jamarco Jones went after Taylor Lewan before practice on Tuesday. Confrontation was de-escalated quickly, and Vrabel kicked Jones out of practice. Apparently, Jamarco Jones has jogged back out there onto the fields after the warm-ups. But what do you make of that? Getting a little spicy out there today at Titans camp.
I like it, yeah. It looks like he's out here. Well, you know, Lewan can rub people the wrong way.
Yes, he can.
Sometimes even guys at his position. Right as I don't know if you heard my sound right when I came back, but it was probably they're doing one-on-ones right now, receiver DB, and probably as good as you could cover someone. Roger McCreary on Traylon Burks, but Burks still got just enough space to make a catch. I mean, it was a heck of just an all-around play by both. And then Kyle Phillips just completely cooked Chris Jackson in the open field. So got some entertaining stuff going on, but apparently not as entertaining as before practice.
Apparently not. So we'll see if Vrabel has anything to say on that front. Looking like no Elijah Molden out there, Cody Hollister, Tommy Hudson, and Briley Moore as well.
Glennon says, and I haven't been able to count everybody up here, but it's no Bud Dupree too.
Correct.
So now sometimes you miss someone and then they pop up, but it looks like maybe he's not out here too.
So day number 2 of pads out there for the Titans. As this week continues, Joe, what are you looking for out there with the pads on? What's kind of the scouting eye of Joe Rexrode that you're looking for today at Titans training camp?
Well, like I said earlier, Chigakonkwo for sure. How's he look as a blocker? He's going to obviously get a lot of opportunities to catch the ball in camp. He's going to get opportunities during the season to catch the ball. He's going to get more opportunities to catch the ball if he's also able to be an effective enough blocker, as an inline blocker at tight end, and that helps them go to tight end more, which has been the most successful approach they've had, and a couple years ago with Arthur Smith. So that's something. And then it just that's a great look for these offensive linemen. Going against this defensive front. So I'm definitely watching. Well, I'm going to watch Jamarco Jones today, that's for sure. I mean, I guess I was going to anyway, but see how that goes. See if we get any reps with him and Lewan next to each other.
It's not really training camp until there's a nice altercation one way or the other.
And usually what you expect is, like if you told me Jamarco Jones in an altercation, I'd be like, okay, so with Jeffrey Simmons then.
Yeah.
Because, Simmons gets intense, of course, out here, but seeing can he make a push at all? What kind of reps is he getting? Same thing with Radens and Nicholas Petit-Frere. Is there any? I mean, it's about that stuff right now. Other things though, like Hassan Haskins, for example, with pads on. How's he look? He had some good moments last week, but is he looking like more and more like a guy who, could, if not get a lot of carries, at least a guy they feel good about if they do, lose Derrick Henry for any period of time. That's somebody you're looking for. You're looking for some of the linebacker depth too. How's Chance Campbell playing out there, for example? In pads, because obviously they got to develop that depth, especially with Monty Rice on PUP.
They've got the Titans on NFL Network right now, and they just showed Traylon Burks' catch on the sideline and Kyle Phillips cooking Chris Jackson like there. So
there you go.
Good start for the receivers. Like you said, Joe, people make a lot out of the one-on-ones. The one-on-ones really should be won by the offense most of the time.
Exactly. Like if you win one of those as a DB, either you've done extremely well or the receiver didn't. But yeah, it's designed for the offense to win. But I mean, Kyle Phillips really won.
He won significantly. I don't think there's any question about that. So how are you, and we got John Glennon's thoughts on this a little bit earlier. How are you viewing the offensive line right now, particularly with those two spots? Todd Downing did say earlier that they're not in any rush to cement the left guard or the right tackle position in terms of who's starting. I'm sure the practices against Tampa Bay and against Arizona will play into that as well. But with the pads on, how have you viewed how Radens and Petit-Frere and Aaron Brewer and Jamarco Jones, all those guys have held up so far during camp?
Well, I've viewed there being a bigger gap at left guard than at right tackle. I think Aaron Brewer, really has just come on strong. They like him a lot, and he seems to have a good thing going with Lewan. So I feel like there's a bigger gap there. It's harder to tell at right tackle, but that's the thing is one thing you're looking for is because look, at some positions there is a lot of rotation, and there are opportunities with the ones for certain players, and usually that's the case when there's more of a competition. So are those other guys getting those looks, or are they just sticking with the twos? That's something that alone tells you something. And then obviously you get to see who they're going against, and if they're going against the ones, then they're going to be going against guys like Simmons and Landry and Dupree. Well, maybe not Dupree today, but you're going to get better looks, you're going to get better feel. So just the opportunity is one thing to find out, and it gives you a little glimpse of what the coaches are thinking. But I definitely think, especially at right tackle, that Dylan Radin shouldn't be feeling safe right now. I mean, it's open. I mean, it's there to be contested.
And with Bud Dupree apparently not out there today, we get back into our favorite training camp game, Joe, of guessing whether or not somebody's hurt or if they're just a nice veteran day off today.
Yeah, and he'd be one of those guys certainly that you would anticipate would get one of those. Vrabel does those. He just randomly says, you know what, here's your off day. And especially with guys who have achieved a certain amount or have been in the league a certain amount of time, and in the case of Dupree, you're still talking about a guy who's had a very serious injury. So, yeah, if it gets to day 2, that's when you're like, oh, okay, so something's up.
Exactly. What have you made of Theo Jackson so far during camp? We talked to him about him a lot heading into camp in terms of could he make a push for that a safety role on this team. Obviously, Hooker and Byard are going to be your starting pair there, but the depth at safety is a concern. Have you noticed Theo Jackson one way or the other so far in camp?
Yes, for sure. And I think it's been mostly good. I haven't noticed a lot of busts or issues there. He's been, to me, pretty solid in coverage. He moves well. Obviously, in the spring, he had some really good moments, and then he had some rookie-looking moments. So right now, I feel like he's pretty solidified, with A.J. Moore as the backups, to those starting safeties. So, but there's another spot where pads helps you a little bit too. You can kind of see what someone has. I would say of those two, Theo Jackson probably a little bit more physical. So, how is he? And also, is he actually going to be in that tight end role? I mean, look, you can do a lot of different things if you're going to man up a tight end, like on a 3rd and long. It just happened to work out that Crookshank just was good at it last year. They figured it out and they went to it. It doesn't mean that another safety has to be doing that. And if it is, maybe it's Byard or Hooker too, right? But if they can find another guy who can do that stuff, they can do it. They have some very interesting, defensive lineups that involve 3+ safeties at times too. So I think so far it's been good. I like him trending toward making the team. Will he make a difference on the field this year? That's harder to say.
Chris on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, Joe, remember no cookies or chips at training camp. It's coming from Chris in Fairview. So we've already started the Joe Rexrode health monitoring on the text line.
Well, and they've got these little things of mini candy bars in the media room, and I've just been absolutely pillaging it. So hold me to account.
I will take a picture, Joe, of you if you do it.
That's right.
That's fine. That's what I want. I need. It takes a village to raise me into a less portly young man.
Joe, have yourself a wonderful time out at Titans training camp today.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.
We have Chase, Willie, and D-Mace coming up next. They'll be live from St. Thomas Sports Park at Titans training camp, day number 2 of the pads. So some hitting going on out there today as well. That does it for us. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. You're listening to 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch The Game.
Line to left, coming on Newstrom. Base hit, Sounds win.
We talk The Game.
But they knew